date with all that's happening with the new National Party, NNP. Send us a message via text or WhatsApp on 405-8683 with your name, email, and constituency. Stay in the know with NNP. Get updated.
Every election campaign is full of old talk and grand promises. Let history be your guide. Is who likely to better perform in government. Election is not about choosing perfect. They are about choosing the best one offer. Vote competent. Vote the NNP.
What's up, Grenada? This is Romain Virgo. I'll be at the Tempe playing field this Sunday for the National Youth Rally. I can't wait to see you. All right, be there.
It's not really complicated. Elections are about choices. Between 2008 to 2013, the economy regressed every year. Between 2014 to 2017, the economy grew every year. Vote competence. Vote NNP.
It's not really complicated. Elections are about choice. Between 2008 and 2013, 1,265 youth engaged with the GIAP. Between 2014 and 2017, 3,725 youth engaged with the Amani program, with a spend of over $190 million. So let's keep moving. Vote NNP. Vote competence. It's not really complicated. Elections are about choice. Between 2008 and 2013, $70 million was spent on scholarships for youth. Between 2014 and 2017, $185 million was spent on scholarships for youth. Vote NNP. Vote competence.
What's up, Grenada? This is Romain Virgo. I'll be at the Tempe playing field this Sunday for the National Youth Rally. I can't wait to see you. All right, be there.
Whatever I have done in office, I hope that I can help inspire the next generation of achievers. Having come from a humble family in Brazil, the son of a farmer and market vendor, this country has given me many awesome opportunities in life, a pathway created through education. That's why I want to speak to the next generation all over St. George's Northwest, and indeed the country as a whole. Life is not about where you started, but where you want to go. I'm determined, through this office I hold, to fight to create even more opportunities for you. But you also must have to want to grab them with both hands. These 2018 general elections are therefore about consolidating the gains and backing the fresh opportunities we shall create for the next generation. We shall not look back, nor stand still. Together we shall march forward. Together we shall keep moving.
Let's keep moving. We came back in 2013 with a clean sweep, we win 15, and my country progressing. NNPD winning team.
And a good morning to you, Grenada, Carriacou, and Petit Martinique. Once again, let's keep moving. Yes, good morning to you, Devon. Morning.
Good morning, Sheldon.
All right,
Good morning, Grenada.
So in case you all didn't know, my name is Sheldon Scott.
And I am Devon Romain.
And this is Hard Talk. And we are live on
97.5 City Sounds.
89.5 CRFM.
92.9 in Carriacou.
Yeah, that's Sister Isle FM.
Sister Isle FM.
Yeah, Carriacou.
Yeah.
Have a happy carnival. Hey. Right, nice.
And 91.9, 91.5 Real FM.
Dre, morning. Good morning
staff.
to the entire of St. Patrick's. Good morning to each and every one of you. No, let me correct myself. Not St. Patrick's, St. Patrick. Good morning to all patricians. Yeah, right. So I correct the thing. St. Mark people.
Yeah,
St. John people.
Yes.
St. Andrew people.
St. Andrew people.
Everybody.
St. George people.
Tutmun. Everybody.
Bagay.
All right. So special, glorious Grenadian good morning to each and every one of you. Also on 92.1 Kiss FM and out there in Brooklyn.
It's 94.9 We Vibes Radio.
Yes, indeed.
Wap wap man.
The Wap Wap Taxi Man, yeah. We'll be joined in studio shortly by our guest for today. Yes. But yeah, we have to keep moving. We can't stop.
Can't stick.
Yeah, you understand? Some fellas can't stop. Devon, bag your story.
We moving.
Let me get my bench, boy. Let me get my bench. I get the bench.
A long time that bench in drag.
Let me drag our bench.
To a lot of people as to the real seriousness.
Let me drag that bench, boy. Let me stop that thing there. And let me pull this there. And let me drag that bench before the guests reach. Let me drag that bench quick.
I mean, you get rusty, boy.
Yeah, boy, I have to drag that bench. All you bench drag that early in the program, all you know what's going on.
Yeah, problems, see?
A candidate was caught pulling down people posters. Oh. Ali Dowd, I could do that, right? And all you know, I ain't go come and call Ali Dowd name just so if I do have proof.
Oh my God.
Ali Dowd, what kind of thing is that, boy?
Come on, Ali, man.
Big man like you go pulling down dock poster in Northwest, man?
Yeah, you are a young person, man. I mean, show example for the youth, man. Come on.
Ali? What sort of behavior is that?
Don't do that, Ali. Come on. You surprised me, boss.
No, man.
What would that benefit you? I mean, what would that benefit you?
It ain't gonna help your chances in the constituency.
No,
we know, I mean, come on.
All.
And there's a certain amount of hate that it takes for a person to go and do something like that, man.
And just tear down. Just watch a poster.
I mean, I might understand if it was one of your little supporters in the area and they feel they're doing something good without your direction. But you yourself, man, we're not tear down people poster. You, Ali Dowden?
But then again,
what are you doing outside 2 o'clock in the morning, 3 o'clock in the morning? What are you doing outside pulling down poster?
That's the example that the leadership of NDC is setting.
Ali Dowden?
You know?
Hello?
Come on, that is not cool, Ali.
I mean, I know it had a certain other man. He was up in the Northeast watching men pull down Toby posters.
And don't say nothing.
Yeah, I mean, there's another man who was there doing that. And then I know it have an aimless one traveling from one end of the south to the other, pulling down people posters and that kind of thing. But let me tell all your posters don't vote.
Pity you guys.
Posters do not vote.
Can't help you all.
But what kind of thing is that? You go pulling down poster?
Come on, Ali.
Well, who is this person trying to call us? So
come on, Ali.
Bright and early. Hey,
first thing in the morning.
As I said, south by Musevi Shop. Musevi Shop, everybody know Musevi Shop down in the south. Everybody's supposed to know that, right? Yeah, what does call the Carib Shop? Right before, by Silver Sands, across the road from Silver Sands. Yep. Morning, Keisha. Yeah, Keisha told me I ain't going no ways Musevi Shop, so she said the Carib Shop. Keisha, what? Check yourself, eh? I'm from Southern, right? I want to say South, they ain't talking about Trinidad. Talking about the south of the island, right? Yeah. So by Musevi Shop. So that's going to be starting 6 p.m. tomorrow. I expect Prime Minister will be making a pass by. Senator David, Senator Humphrey. You'll also be having the Honorable Nicholas Steele, who will be the soon-to-be parliamentary representative of the south of the island. Yep. So you're going to have these different individuals. We'll be speaking on that platform tomorrow. Yeah, so that is going to be taking place by Musevi Shop. So those of you in areas, for instance, like, Coffee Bow Hill, and so yeah, and certain parts of Belmont Golf Course and so on. You all can come on down to that particular meeting. Yeah, those of you in the Stones and those areas, you can come across to that particular meeting. That's going to be by Musevi Shop tomorrow, and it should be starting for 6 p.m. So we expect to see you all out there. Right, in a while, should get the list of the other meetings and so, but we're going to take a short break and be right back. But hey, Ali, stop that shoppiness. Don't go and pull on the man posters. That is, it's unbecoming of a candidate to go and be pulling down another candidate. I mean, a candidate, you know.
Frustration.
Yeah, I mean, watch. We will play a song for them. March 13 coming up. We will play a song for them. Let's play a song for them.
Frustration.
What's up, Grenada? This is Romain Virgo. I'll be at the Tempe playing field this Sunday for the National Youth Rally. I can't wait to see you. All right, be there.
People yearning, people learning. Look yonder, propaganda about the Cubans in Grenada, about the Cubans in Jamaica. He said, we listen what the people say. Cuba help us and no take no pay. He said, we listen what the people say. Cuba help us and no take no pay. Then the Zulia, then Brigadista, look on the work of the Cuban doctor. People yearning, people learning. Look yonder, propaganda. He said, we listen what the people say. The fascists will not have his way. He said, we listen what the people say. The fascists will not have his way. In Jamaica, on this rock, yeah, I take on ya. People yearning, people learning. Look yonder, propaganda.
Yes, indeed. Yeah, look yonder, propaganda. Careful. Yeah, there are all kind of thing to say and all kind of thing and telling you sign all kind of document and then them is the same one going and do the thing. And Ali Dowden? Nice, good morning. Devon, we have a guest. Introduce the guest, man.
Good morning, Grenada. In our studios this morning, we have Senator Chester Humphrey, no stranger to Grenadians, and so on. We hope to have a lively and fruitful discussion this morning. Good morning to you, Senator Humphrey.
Well, good morning, Devon. Good morning, Sheldon, and to all your listeners. Just one slight correction. Since the dissolution of Parliament a couple Sundays ago, I no longer hold the title of Senator, neither am I the President of the Senate, because there's no Parliament right now. The Parliament stands dissolved until after the general election, when the writs are then issued that, So right now I am really just John Citizen, carrying out my civic duties as I see
Citizen
fit.
Humphrey.
Yeah, Citizen Humphrey.
And I all my life I have been a trade unionist, well, revolutionary trade unionist. And I can assure you that that will be a prominent place in the upcoming period going forward now. So I'm no longer a senator, but thanks for the recognition. It's not an American system where once a senator, you
always a senator.
Retain
Well, I've never stopped calling you senator. I've always referred to you
Well,
in and out of Parliament as senator.
Well, me too, quite often when I see you as the senator.
I just force a habit, and I think that ever since I know myself on the island of Grenada, I know him as Senator Chester Humphrey.
But
it's difficult to refer to you as anything
it
else.
comes something like a nickname,
Yeah.
But, and then
we have a guy that told himself senator too, I mean, he just hosts program.
I mean, so you have been the longest serving senator, I believe.
Well, that's true. Yeah, I've been the longest serving senator.
So it's not something that we can get rid of, in our minds.
In fact, in the last parliament, the two longest serving parliamentarians were Dr. Mitchell and myself. He had 5 years ahead of me, And then because when I demitted office in 2012 and didn't stand for re-election and afforded radio opportunity, then Dr. Mitchell moved forward, I think, by about 6 years.
Okay.
Right? So he has 6 years ahead of me, and I hope to catch up at some point.
I know, you see, it nearly come out, Senator Humphrey.
Well, I mean,
I can't help it. But anyway, we know who was speaking.
But just to correct the record.
Yes, for the records, for the Hansard. Make sure the corrections are made. Senator Humphrey, you see it come out again. Anyhow, we've been looking at, over the past week, we've been, and the first issue we'll speak to you on, we've been looking at an audio recording that we have obtained of an internal meeting where it is going to be attempted, where the plan is. We've heard the General Secretary, Mr. Glenn Noel, of the NDC. We've also heard other members of the NDC on that recording, speaking of slowing down the election day process, denying voters the right to cast a ballot on election day, frustrating voters. What's your view in relation to this, considering that it's the same National Democratic Congress that has been calling out the new National Party, signed Code of Conduct, signed this document, signed that document? What is your view in relation to this? I don't know if you've heard it. We'll play it in a while for you. If you have not heard it clearly, we'll play it for you. But what is your view in relation to this particular issue, considering that we're about to go into general elections?
Well, someone did send me a copy of the clip on my WhatsApp platform. And of course, this has been dominating the news, so it is not easy to escape one's attention. I must say that there is cause for deep concern, simply because such an activity is inimical to the best interests of the advancement of parliamentary democracy and the process of renewing one's mandate in order to govern the country. I don't know whether or not there's a cause of action criminally, but when I listen to it, they are in fact attempting to exploit the process, all right, by sabotaging the process. What I find, well, not strange, but what concerns me is the fact that in the very name of the NDC is the word democratic. The National Democratic Congress, that's the name. They were in the forefront of signing the so-called Code of Conduct, which is to govern elections. They have given a pretense that they're all about fairness and so on. And it was therefore interesting and instructive when this was revealed that here they were receiving instructions and advice from someone from a country that does not have a proud electoral history, a country that is exceedingly violent, that has one of the largest crime rates per capita in the world, receiving instructions from such a person as to how to sabotage the electoral process. And when I think of the Honorable Tillman Thomas, of whom I know something about, and whom I still have a significant amount of regard for, because whatever you may say about Tillman, he has certain basic things which inform how he sees the world. We may disagree with him, we may believe he's not competent, we may whatever we think, but he does have a good measure of principles that are good principles. In fact, some of the principles I associate myself with. And I think he would be shocked, if not surprised, that the party which he led and which he, and whose leadership he has handed over to Mr. Burke can now be engaged, rather than preparing thoroughly for convincing the electorate. They are spending their time now in constructing strategies to frustrate the will of the people, because this is what about. They are using loopholes in the procedure. Because obviously, an agent at a polling station can make an objection to someone who comes to cast a ballot if there are valid reasons to believe that the person about to vote is not a valid voter, right? And that is allowable as part of the procedures for conducting a free and fair poll. But when you set about to use that procedure for nefarious reasons, and use that procedure in order to frustrate other voters for executing the constitutional democratic right, a right which was fought for and won by the workers of this country in the 1951 revolution, it tells me really that the construct of the National Democratic Congress under the leadership of Mr. Burke has departed from some of the very fundamentals upon which that organization was founded, and upon which, when I became a member on the behest of Mr. Thomas, has now significantly departed, and we're dealing with a completely different organization. Right? But I think it is what was fortuitous that the machinations and plans have been exposed. So, and the Grenadian people are better aware. What I find highly interesting is that the party has issued no apology, has not reaffirmed its commitment to democratic principles and fairness, but instead has attempted to deflect the issue into something about spying and James Bonding. I mean, which really, I mean, I don't know what that has to do with anything. The fact of the matter is, and everybody, I mean, voice recognition technology is highly advanced, but the human ear, Sheldon, I don't have to see you on the air to know when you are talking. And I can tell whether it is you or Devon, because the human ear can in fact discern. Your voice is like a fingerprint. Your voice is a fingerprint, is another characteristic fingerprint. There are very few people who sung like Chester Humphrey. There are very few people who sung like Eric Williams. And try as best as Mr. Burke is attempting to song like Morris Bishop. Exactly. We're trying to adopt Morris's phraseology, because everybody has different phraseology. Some people can speak long without a break. Other people speak in short sentences. You know, we all have, your voice is a fingerprint. And there can be absolutely no doubt that my good friend Glenn Noel, who I don't know why Glenn, at Glenn's age and our age, you're so bent on mischief. One ought to be trying at our age really to make good and peace with the world, to try to allay the anger of those who you may have offended. I mean, life goes through different stages and so on and so on and so on. But I'm saying, and what concerns me is this so-called Code of Conduct Committee has not issued a single statement. So its own credibility is at stake.
I think
for those who have been going around trying to get these things signed, up until this point, not a single word has been issued by this organization expressing its concerns or even saying, look, we have become aware and we are investigating. Not a single word has come from the Sandra Fergusons and the, my good friend, help me with the name, it's slipping me now, Judy Williams and others. Your credibility is at stake, and you ought to do something about that.
I think that probably maybe Hard Talk has to officially hand over the audio that we have in our possession to the committee. I mean, it's in the public, as many other things are in the public.
As I said, it's in the public domain.
It's been to various areas.
In the same way as I saw a photograph of somebody in an NNP T-shirt sitting at a desk in a constituency office. But I then heard the supervisor explain that that person is not an employee. That person was not doing any official business on behalf of the electoral office.
Oh, yes.
That person came there to register people, and the place was packed and sat on an available chair. That's the explanation I heard. Yes, but at least some explanation was given, right? But for those who had charged themselves with the duty from a non-governmental organization point of view, to sit silent while this thing is thinking about, you know, as I said, it really interferes with the credibility of the organization.
Yes, indeed. You've mentioned that under former Prime Minister Tillman Thomas, something like this would not have taken place within the NDC.
Not with his knowledge. I mean, I can afford to say that. I could be wrong. I could be wrong, but this is my view. As I said to you, Tillman Thomas is a decent citizen. Right? We may criticize him in ways. Well, people criticize me. I was critical of him in some respects, but I'm saying he has certain basic decencies about him
that he would not.
That I do not believe. I do not believe that such a thing would happen with his knowledge.
Let me ask, therefore, the NDC of 2018. Is it in any form or format the NDC of Nicholas Brafitt, of George Brizan, of Tillman Thomas? Is it in any form or format the organization that was founded on democratic principles by these individuals many years ago?
Absolutely not. Absolutely not. And I can tell you this. I can tell you this sitting in the chair of a workers' leader for many, 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 many years. In the Tillman Thomas cabinet, I can tell you that Tillman was inclined to retain the CCC. Tillman Thomas was inclined to retain the CCC. As a matter of fact, Tillman Thomas signed a letter of intent, which was sent to the CCC saying that we are happy to have you to continue the phase 2 of the project. It is those who surrounded Tillman, who usurped Tillman's prime ministerial power, and given the fact of the kind of personality he is, they were able to wiggle away. Right? They were able to wiggle their way. I know as a fact that left alone, Tillman Thomas would not use the instrument of the prorogation of Parliament to save himself, because the prorogation of Parliament instrument, in terms of Parliament is prorogued and you keep it going and so on, is if you have a national calamity of some such sort. It is not meant, you see, because in our system of checks and balances, while the Prime Minister is first among equals, and he's a dominant factor in the executive, because he advises the Governor General on who constitutes the cabinet. You serve in the cabinet at the pleasure of the Prime Minister. But that power is checked. That power is checked. The power of the executive is checked in the legislature by a simple instrument called a vote of no confidence. So a Prime Minister could believe he's the biggest man in the town and the baddest man in the town, and he can do whatever he wants. But the Parliament can bring his government down. So when the Constitution was written, it was never intended that the prorogation will be used as an instrument to frustrate the will of Parliament. Because what checks the power of the Prime Minister as head of the executive is the ability of Parliament, inherently so in the British parliamentary democratic tradition, to exercise a vote of no confidence that checks the power of the Prime Minister. So it was those around Tillman who put him in this invidious position in which he found himself at odds with his own democratic principles. Right? And I'm saying what we face here today now with Mr. Burke, I am sorry for the workers, because Mr. Burke used every available opportunity he had as Minister of Finance and in effect Deputy Prime Minister to frustrate every effort we made to advance the cause of workers in this country. And you can check Glenys Roberts, the Herculean struggle we had to increase the daily rate of pay, the minimum wage of security guards, was blocked by Mr. Burke every step of the way. I can tell you that. It was Mr. Burke who launched the attack against CCC after he gave us a commitment when I negotiated quietly with CCC for the second phase. And the CCC agreed. In 2009, we were then. In 2009, we were then in 2009. And the CCC agreed that if they get the second phase of the project, they will keep the prices which were quoted in 2007. And from Peter David's office that morning, because I spoke to Prime Minister Thomas, he agreed that the matter will come on the cabinet agenda on that meeting on the Monday. I went to the homes of almost all members of parliament, including my very good friend Ann Peters. And if she's listening, she could recall this. I left Ann's house 11 o'clock that night. It was a Sunday night. Cabinet was meeting the Monday. Mr. Burke was not present for that cabinet meeting because he had some, I think it was a CDB bank meeting or some finance meeting in Barbados. So he left the Sunday. On the Monday morning, before the matter was going to be addressed in the cabinet, from Peter's office, myself, Ali Gill, Peter, and I believe Joe Gilbert was there. We called Mr. Burke at his hotel in Barbados, and I reported to him the negotiation that I had done together with Mr. Nelson Louison and the CCC representatives here in order to save the jobs of the 300 and something workers. And I reported, Mr. Burke, these people have been able to extract a concession. Because in my discussions with the CCC, it was understood that once they got the second phase, they will hire back every single member of the Technical and Allied Workers Union.
Mm-hmm.
Yes? When the matter came up for cabinet, the position of Prime Minister Mitchell, of Prime Minister Tillman Thomas was, Mr. Burke as Finance Minister is not at this meeting. I will require him to be present because these are money matters involving a huge loan and so on and so on and so on and so forth. And they agreed to adjourn the matter from the cabinet's agenda to the following day, Tuesday in the afternoon, because Mr. Burke was expected back either Monday night or Tuesday morning, and then the cabinet will continue just on that item to be able to give a positive or otherwise response to the people. That meeting, I think, was scheduled for 2 o'clock. Well, I sat in my office anxious. I mobilized my shop stewards, people like Scott and others, telling them, boy, we're going to get the second phase. As I always indicated to you, politics for me is another arena of the struggle for the working class. And then when I form a political alliance, I form a political alliance not for something for me, but in order to advance the cause of the workers. Because let's make it clear, there are limitations on trade union power. Right? But in respect of the conduct of the state, those who administer the state have more power. And if you want to advance the workers' cause, and this is why we've always made the case that there ought to be a workers' party in every country. Mm-hmm. In the case of Grenada, that came out of the 1951 struggle and the formation of the GULP. In succeeding years, after Gary was demised, that struggle was taken on by the PRG and led by people like myself and Vincent Noel and others who had a workers' agenda. And this is why we had maternity leave with pay. This is why we had NIS. This is why we had a whole range of different things for the workers in this country. Right? Because we were able to get political power to respond to the interests of the working class. Those who have money use money power to extract benefits from the state. What the workers have to do is to use the organizational power and influence to do the same thing. That meeting, when it was convened on Tuesday, I sat in my office waiting. 2 o'clock came, nothing. 3 o'clock came, nothing. 4 o'clock came, nothing. And I started to get worried. Can't hear from Peter or anybody. So I drove down to the ministerial complex. As I was driving into the top part, Peter answered me on the phone. He said, Chess, he said, boy, things didn't go your way. And I said, what do you mean? I said, but we spoke with Naz and we have an agreement. He said, boy, Mr. Burke launched one attack against you. And earlier in the week, or the week before, that weekend before, Sandra Ferguson had written an article about corruption of the CCC and was linking me to corruption. And if I had some personal benefit to get, I was just advancing, fighting for the 300 and something workers and their families. These are poor people, you know. Yes? And then I'll tell you something that I have not said publicly, but I'll say it now because it's going to be part of my memoirs anyway. Peter said, I can't talk to you now because we're still in the cabinet room. Meet me down by Otway. And I drove down by Otway and he came down there and he meet me and he said, boy, them fellas ain't going to CCC, you know. And it is at that stage, my thinking about my association with the National Democratic Congress begun. And it was Mr. Burke who single-handedly led that assault. And then CCC was kicked out of the country. But you know the irony? They concocted an excuse about value for money. And do you know what happened? I said to them, I said to Prime Minister Thomas, I said, Prime Minister Thomas, the world is facing a crisis of immense proportions. Workers by the thousands will be losing their jobs, millions all over the world. There's a coming storm. If you allow CCC to leave this country, you will never get them back. You know, so said, so done. But the irony of which crowns it all is that the same CCC that they kick out, when they went and asked for rebidding, you know, CCC rebidded, and they took back the same CCC that they kick out to do the project now at almost twice the price that they had promised to do. And this was the work of Mr. Burke. So what I'm saying to you is this. What we are facing is not an individual with a peasant kind of mentality. And I'm not saying this in a degrading way about Mr. Thomas. But he's a simple, honest, decent Grenadian of peasant stock, hardworking, very independent in thought, and sometimes that made him aloof from people. It made him appear as if he wasn't empathetic to people. But he is a peasant. The Grenada peasantry works hard. You know that. Right? They work hard. They value every penny. They save every cent. Exactly. When years ago, the peasant class came to town to buy a vehicle or something, they bought that cash, you know.
Cash. Yep.
Right? They were a disciplined group of people, very reserved in their spending and so on. And that personified Tillman. What you're dealing with now as a leader is a completely different person. A completely different person who has an obsession in becoming prime minister. He doesn't have an obsession to serve. He has an obsession. So when I was expelled, the reason why up to now, I was tried, charged, and executed, and up to now, I don't know what I did. And Naz was the one behind it, simply because he wanted absolutely no opposition, right? And I'm saying you're dealing with a completely different kind of person. And we can see it. Let me give you another example of Mr. Burke. The People's Republic of China built, I think it was either 257 or 357, I don't have my notes, I'm missing my notes, housing units. It is the largest block and stock of housing ever built in this country since Columbus came to these parts. Not even the colonial government did that feat. Not even the PRG put down so many houses. They completed that houses more than 11 months before the 2013 elections and handed it over to the National Democratic Congress. All that the government had to do was to put in the sewer system, to connect the water, and to put in electricity. And you could tell me Mr. Burke, as Minister of Finance, could not find the funds simply to do that? That Mr. Burke, as the then Deputy Prime Minister, could not give out a single unit of those 300 and something units to a party supporter? You think that could happen with Dr. Mitchell and the NNP?
Never happened.
I mean, the things they accuse Dr. Mitchell of is that NNP first, NNP second, NNP third. But Mr. Burke, who had the responsibility as Minister of Finance for finding the funding. And you know why? Simply because Burke has no caring for ordinary people. You know when my heart broke? My heart broke when I sat in the cabinet room that Sunday in the Bury struggle. And Mr. Burke looked at me We are both revolutionaries. He said he never held a gun and he never killed a chicken. No, I could tell you. No, I could. And you see, I'm amazed by.
Laughable.
I'm amazed by Naza, because Naza has now adopted the persona of Morris. His gesticulation now is not like Morris. His phraseology is just like Morris. But Burke has done everything conceivable to sanitize himself from the revolution.
Yep, and that's true.
No, I would say here, everybody knew me. I'm a revolutionary, I'm a socialist. I would admit that the revolution make mistakes. But if I come and tell you, boy, I was never part of that, how would I look to you?
A fraud, fake.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely. And when Mr. Burke looked at me that Sunday morning in the cabinet room and tell me it's not what the government wants, but it's what the company wants, I begun to understand the individual that I was dealing with. I begun to understand. And I understood him even better during the height of that struggle. When he holding the position, not formally, of Deputy Prime Minister, because effectively he was that. And these guys authorized the release of armed police, riot squad. I have fought Dr. Mitchell all over all these years. And I'm not coming here to pretend that I'm an NNP. I am coming here to tell you to return the new National Party to office, simply because I believe it's the best thing for Grenada at this time, and it advances the cause of the workers of this country. Let me tell you about Mr. Burke again. In March 2009, after the elections, the NDC held its convention in the GBSS auditorium. My first convention I attended as a National Democratic Congress member. And I went to that convention. There were only 2 resolutions brought there. One resolution done by Ferron and the other resolution done by myself. And you know what that resolution was about? It was a call to remove income tax on severance pay. And the reason why I wanted that done is because workers were losing their jobs left, right, and center. Banks were closing. The world had gone into the greatest recession since the deep recession of the 1920s. Never before had this happened. Remember Wall Street crash? Millions of workers lost their jobs worldwide. Right? And in the Caribbean, banks were closing in Grenada. Cable and wireless. I used to represent almost 300 workers in cable and wireless. And I saw over 150-something workers within 24 months lost their jobs. And when they were going home, because of my negotiations, we had and still do have the best severance and retrenchment package of all cable and wireless in the region. You don't have to take my word for it. You can pick up the phone, call the manager, or you could call any worker who has been retrenched in cable and wireless. And therefore, it was an imperative of ours to ensure that the workers who are going home now go home with all of their money, because these companies were career companies. They're not a company where you join today and you leave work tomorrow. So a lot of the workers had long-term commitments like mortgages, either on a car, on a house. Many of them were paying for the children to go to university and so on, and had these mortgages. So it meant that when they lost their jobs, and these are high-paying jobs, rather than have all of the money to be able to service the mortgage or set up a business alternatively, they had to pay substantial amount of income tax. That resolution was passed unanimously, and Mr. Burke, as Minister of Finance, totally refused to carry out the democratic wishes of the highest decision-making body of his party, the Congress. Yes. And it was only in 2012, when the signs were already on the wall, that Mr. Burke then decided he's going to do it, but give it for only 1 year. He came up with all kind of convoluted reasons. So this is what I'm saying to you. What you are dealing with is a different kettle of fish. And the workers of this country have to be very much aware, of the impending dangers which face them. If by some modern day miracle, Mr. Burke becomes Prime Minister of this country, of every step of the way, take 661, which is what the bureaus use to lock out the workers for 66 days. You remember that? You remember when I had to lie in front of the truck to stop the drinks from coming out, to re-establish the corridor we had with those workers who were locked out for 66 days? We successfully, for the first time in the history of this country, a non-member of the government was able to pass a piece of legislation. We got that bill successfully passed through the Senate. Mr. Burke was then leader of government's business in the House. When the bill came down to the House, Mr. Burke blocked the bill, and the bill died. So that today, the same measure in law that was used to lock out the workers, to try to starve them out in order to take away the profit sharing, that same measure exists today thanks to Mr. Nazenberg. So I am not here to bad talk anybody. I am not here to besmirch anybody's character. I am here to present the facts. Like it or don't like it, the facts speaks for themselves.
Senator,
to cut a long story short, if I may conclude, and this is why I'm saying, the National Democratic Congress of today under Burke is an entirely different organization by the construct of its leadership. Don't forget, that George Brizan, in his history, used to be advisors to the unions. Naz is a lawyer. Ask Naz to name one case that he went to court to represent workers or trade unions for. Ask him to name one case. So you see, that's what I'm saying to you. George Brizan was the economic advisor. When we had that big struggle in 1989, that time Mr. Blaise was prime minister, we had an 8-day strike of public officers. Don't forget that, in which I played a leading role. Although Sister Clarkson was the symbolic head, I was playing a leading role. George Brizan, right, had written a lot of economic work that we used in order to present our case. Mr. Burke has no such history. You could call Peter David, go and attend worker classes and lecture workers. Ask Mr. Burke to name a single lecture he has ever given to any group of workers in this country. Or he has represented any worker, any trade union in any industrial matter in this country. I'll be surprised if he has done one. So I'm saying to you that in answer to your question, I've been long-winded, but purposefully so.
I don't think you've been long-winded. So. You've been very clear and factual.
No, look.
Very clear and factual.
They say that they call me an opportunist. They call me a grasshopper. But I am clear on what I'm doing. Today, when we met with the New National Party in August of 2012 in the headquarters of the Technical and Allied Workers Union, and I was then still President General of the union, and Dr. Mitchell and so wrote us asking for a meeting. We say, yeah, we will meet. And they met our entire executive, because our executive meets on a Saturday morning then. And they came to that meeting. We presented them with 27 demands. We presented them with 27 demands for the workers. Demand number one, that the 4 women dismissed by Lingham Samuel out of Lotto in the sexual harassment case must be returned with all of the benefits. Number 2, we want the immediate removal of income tax on severance pay because we were losing members. Imagine a fellow worked 33 years in cable and wireless, carrying a street telephone company, right? And he is going home with his compensation benefits after 33 years. He's going home with $140-something thousand. And he had to pay the government $50-something thousand out of that money. A worker that has lost his job, he is now 55. So his employment opportunities are limited. He has a family. He has a mortgage with a cooperative bank. And he owes the cooperative bank $170,000. And out of that $160-something thousand, he has to pay the government $50-something thousand. It makes sense to me. The state would not, although the state gives up those taxes, it will get it back. Because such a worker, the first thing he does, he goes to the bank and he pays back. He buys a small bus or something, out of which the government will get taxes. He puts a small shop under his house. The bricks and things that he buy from gravel and concrete or other places, It's cement that brought into the country upon which so the government makes back the money. But what it does is it gives relief to the individual and his family, allowing an ordinary working man economic space to breathe. I told you Mr. Burke sat on that and never made a move. I went to Tillman Thomas backward and forward. He said, well, I've spoken to Mr. Burke. Well, Mr. Burke. Yes? So, I stand here today proudly on the New National Party platform, not as an NNP, but as the architect of Project Grenada, advancing the cause of the workers. Because let me tell you, by May 2013, the NNP declared through its Minister of Labour, the Honorable Nimrod, at the May Day rally in La Sagesse, that the government was going to remove income tax on severance pay, and it was going to make it retroactive from the 1st of January. And that was done. And I can tell you how pleased and happy those workers in cable and wireless who may be listening to me now. Some I'm appealing to you. This is what happened. The 4 lotto workers, 4 women, 2 who were pregnant, 1 who was sick when she was dismissed. They all got back their jobs. Every single one of them was reinstated. They were out of work for about 16 or 17 months. They got full pay for that 16 or 17 months. They got their bonus for that period of time. And in addition to that, they were treated as if they had been working. So they accumulate vacation leave based on those. Everything that we had demanded and the New National Party had agreed to in that document in Tower House that Saturday, the government has followed through on it. We demanded the reinstatement of the pension lost by public officers. Right? The decisions came in the court while the NDC was in office. They did nothing about it. I went to the Prime Minister and I said, Prime Minister, we have some serious challenges, you know. Let me give you the list of industrial challenges that we have. And he could tell you so. And I gave him the list, including the pension matter in Nawasa. And I draw workers' attention to the difference. Andre Lewis, a fine comrade. A fine comrade. And I'm going to tell you, Andre is going to make an outstanding trade unionist. Not only in this country, you know, but throughout the Caribbean. Andre is a fine, committed, deep in his working class roots, serious in ideological outlook, disciplined, right? And well balanced and educated. Because we prepared Andre. I prepared Andre over time. We gave Andre leave to go and study at Andre is very modest. Do you know this fella has a double master's?
Never knew that.
He has a double master's. And he had his what do you think he have his master's in business? If you want to lead workers, you have to understand business, my friend. Because you are sitting down with the marshals and owners of business. And if you don't understand their business, then you can't negotiate for the workers who are employed there. Andre today is now the 3rd Vice President of the Caribbean Congress of Labour, something I ensured before I left. Right? So I am saying to you that all of these things were done. All the workers got back their jobs. And the struggle he has led for the Nawasa workers who had these short-term contracts. Look at the intensity of that struggle. The difference between Andre leading the Nawasa struggle and I leading the Bury struggle. Where was the police? Did Andre have to lie down in front of a truck in order to? No. The rights of the workers are respected. And why were the rights of the workers respected? Because of the New National Party in office, who I am able to influence and whose roots belong to the working class. Make no mistake about it. The Grenada politics has evolved. The old planter party, GNP, is now the NDC.
Yes.
And the old working class party of the GULP and of parts of the revolution has now become the NNP.
And look, can I say this?
I'm just saying to you, the social construct hasn't really changed. The personalities have changed. The personalities are now more educated. They are better equipped. The level of the working class has risen. We don't have no mass of illiterate people. Every worker has gone to school in this country because we have universal primary school education. The PRG introduced universal secondary and universal university education continued by the NNP. So I'm appealing to the workers. Don't be confused by Ray Roberts, my good friend. Ray tried to be a trade unionist. I tried to teach him a few things, and he did learn. But Ray is mistaken. Ray finds himself in the wrong group. Ray proclaims that he's a Garyite. But how could you be a Garyite inside of the GMP? You can't be a Garyite inside of the GMP.
He's confused.
He's confused. So Paul Ray is confused.
An organization that has actually come out and said the most vile things about Sir Eric Matthew Gary, even quite recently. They have called him despotic dictator. Some of the worst things. I mean, you don't have to agree with everything that Sir Eric Matthew Gary, and I don't think anybody.
I mean,
I know anybody agrees with everything, but you have to.
But in my history, I supported Gary. You know, I broke with Gary in 1967 when I began to head the student movement in Grenada at that time. Myself and Dr. Strode and Barry McBarnett and others. So we have a long history of political struggle. And I'm saying to Ray, how can you associate yourself with a political party that released the organs of power against workers who are locked out of their jobs? How could you associate yourself with a party that in the face of the deepest crisis facing the workers never gave them the economic relief? How could you associate yourself with a party who we got the parliament in the upper house to agree to change 6-6-1, right, from reasonable time to 7 days, and your current leader is the one who sabotaged it? How could you associate yourself with that?
Anti-worker, he's pure
But let me ask something of you, Senator. Is there a sort of psychotic break with the leadership of the NDC? And I'm saying this in the context of this. They have been gaslighting the Grenadian public, trying to gaslight the workers, trying to gaslight even members of the New National Party. They've been trying to gaslight everybody in trying to convince you that what you know is fact is not. So you would have statements being made, for instance, well, the NNP government removed the school book program. And you have thousands of parents around the island that know that this is not so.
No, well,
you have several instances of these sort of things where they're trying to convince you that what you know is true isn't true.
Well, no,
is there a psychotic break? Is it just that they think of us so lowly?
No. This is the art of politics. Politics is the art of persuasion. And you can persuade in different ways. You can persuade with lies. You can persuade with facts, right? And they elect to persuade with a distortion of the truth, right? They elect. It's what I call the Donald Trumpian principle in politics, right? Lie bold-faced enough, and people will say, he can't be so bold-faced to tell me that, so it's probably true.
It's true.
But I went and I guess school books. So, I mean,
Vince Roberts is like that.
So, I laugh at my good friend Vincent, who tells me that I'm a traitor. But do you know at one time, Vincent Noel was a strong... Vincent Roberts, was a strong NNP?
Very much.
Do you know at one occasion, Vincent Roberts organized a meeting in Cable and Wireless with the workers in opposition to me and invited down Dr. Mitchell, and the entire meeting backfired? So as I said to them, I said, look, politics is a dynamic game. It is. People come and people go. But I don't know why they are on my case. My case and Peter, I don't know. For people who you have expelled, you see, I treat life as a series of experiences. And what I do, some experiences are good, some experiences are bad. And what I do, I try to learn from my experiences. I don't hold on to the past. And as I said to people, after in World War II, Germany fought the Allies. Germany was mercilessly bombed. They lost something about 10 million citizens, or how many millions of people was killed. In coming towards the end of World War II, somewhere close in 1945 or thereabout, Japan, who had declared war and was part of the German axis in this war, Japan suffered. It's the only known humankind to have suffered thermonuclear war. In the entire civilization of humankind, from the records available to us, no other people. This is the first and only time that nuclear weapons were used. And they dropped 2 bombs, hydrogen bombs at that time, one in Hiroshima and the other in Nagasaki. And I had the privilege of visiting Nagasaki and see for myself what those bombs did. What had happened 3 to 4 generations later? Japan is now one of the firmest allies of the United States. Germany is one of the firmest allies of Britain and other European powers. And both countries have performed economic miracles. Within the short period of time between 1945 to now, Germany has become Europe's leading economy. Japan became the world's second largest and most advanced economy, second only to the United States, until they were recently overtaken by China about 3 years ago. So you see what the peace dividend has done. The peace dividend has allowed these people to grow and develop. Now, if the Japanese could forgive the Americans and the Germans could forgive the British, why can't I set aside my differences with Dr. Mitchell and say, let's work for country? And let me tell you, I did not apply to go into the NMP, you know. I was home my night after the victory when I heard from my home Dr. Mitchell saying the following words. He said, I spoke to my God earlier today and I asked him, though, what have I done to deserve this? This is the second time in the history of the Caribbean that one political party win all of the seats. It's second time. And the guy said he was struck. This is the man speaking. I'm quoting him word for word. And then he said, some people say, this is NNP time. He said, but I have reflected in the quiet of the moment. And I have come to the conclusion, and you see, this is Dr. Mitchell speaking, that God has given me a mission. But I cannot do it alone. And I call on Madonna Harford and Chester Humphrey to come forward and help me in building this country. That's what I heard. I wasn't invited. I didn't go to the rally. I didn't even vote in the election. I made it clear that I was not voting in the 2013 election because Peter had pulled out. It was clear that nothing could be formed then. Glenys wanted to go ahead, and I said to her, I said, Glenys, I'll support you. So I mobilized my foreign support. I got her the T-shirts. I got her campaign money. I went on her platform, but I did not vote in the elections. A few days later, a phone call came to my house. Call was answered by my wife, who handed me the phone. Somebody is on the line to you. I said, somebody is, who is it? She said, take the phone. And to my surprise, who was on the phone? Dr. Mitchell. And I know, when people call me Chess, I know it's the prelude to something very personal.
That is softening up. That is
softening up. He said, Chess. I said, Prime Minister. He said, man, I need your help. I said, well, how can I help you? He said, Chess, we can't do this alone, you know. And my mind reflected on the hundreds of workers that was losing. He says, Chess, this economy is in a mess, and I can't do it alone. He said, I have made mistakes, but this opportunity, and this is his language, he said, this opportunity has been given to me to put Grenada right, and I want you on this journey with me. Are you prepared to serve? I say, Prime Minister, as you speak, I reflect on what happened after Ivan. Immediately after Ivan, the opposition then didn't go, you know. I showed up in Dr. Mitchell's house asking. When the police see me coming down there, all man had the eye on me. I see fellas reminding themselves with the pieces. I went into Dr. Mitchell's house, and word reached him that Chester Humphrey outside in the yard, and he come, he said, let him come in. So I put up my hands. I say, you want to search me? He said, Chester, that's not necessary. I say, Prime Minister, what we are facing here, we have to come together. I've come here in person to let you know that I am prepared to work any task you think that I could do, give it to me, and I'll do it to the best of my ability. And I reminded him about that. He said, you know, Chess, I never forget that, you know. You see, while I oppose Mitch, I never hated him personally. I can tell you an experience I had on a program in Eddie Frederick program in Paul Roberts' house. Yeah. When I went on that Sunday program, in those days, I spit in fire against the NNP. And Eddie Frederick referred to Dr. Mitchell as that little black boy. And I walked off the program. I said, Mr. Frederick, no, you know. I said, I say, as a black man, Doc is a black man, you don't use that kind of... I say, you either apologize or this program is finished. This program is finished. And so I'm here today. Not that I'm no NNP convert. I am here today because the country needs us. And the gentleman has shown that he has deep feelings for this. We may have gone different routes. We have gone different paths. I would have gone the revolutionary path. I would have gone the trade union path. But there's one thing common between us. We have been always helping poor people. We've been always... Dr. Mitchell have a house in Lansapine. Where you living? Well, tell me
among his people. Happy
where you just want to socialize?
Among his people.
But you can see all over the country in all kind of areas.
Let me go down in front Peter Davis' office now. Who you see lying up there?
Poor people.
Well, this is our Pedro in court right now with
but
poor people children.
But what he doing in court?
Poor people children.
What he doing in court?
Yeah, defending poor people children, and he even getting paid for it.
You think Peter could have get a law degree and then had to practice law, you know? Peter could have just gotten his law degree and don't practice law. But we are driven by a higher ideal. We are the continuance of the struggle of our forefathers. So that when I look at independence today, I remember the struggle of Fedon. When I look at independence today, I remember the last battle of our Aboriginal forefathers. And this crap they're writing about, they jump over Leapers Hill, that was not true. They were genocided. They were genocided and slaughtered in their last stance against being enslaved. And that is the blood. That is the blood that runs in our veins. Don't forget that Morris is a direct descendant from Fedon. So that is the blood that flows in our veins. And this is why we can't deny the revolution. We can't sanitize it and sanitize ourselves and pretend and come talking about I never held a gun, I never killed a chicken. I don't know about killing chicken, but I know me and you, we're in the same militia group in Manassas.
Exactly.
Okay? And I'm saying, you see, and this is the things.
So again, the Minister of Finance under the RMC?
I am speaking truth to facts. I am not here to defame anybody, but I'm here because I believe I have a duty to warn the workers, lest they be misled by Ray, who himself is being misled. Ray is a nice guy, right? But again, I ask the question, how does a Garyite find himself in the home of the GNP?
It's confusing. It's confusing.
Senator Humphrey, it's now 13 minutes after the hour of 11 o'clock. Some folks have been asking if we know. We're going to take calls in a while, but when you're having information like that, believe me, we'll take your calls, we'll take your questions. And so those of you online, you can post your questions, and we'll be taking calls in a while.
A lot, so.
I think I want you to stop.
No, but I get hooked. I just started. But now let the callers. Let the callers. So I hope I have explained myself, right? Because I can't pull wool over people's eyes. The government is well on its way to the restoration of pensions for public officers. And again, let me give you another secret. I went to Dr. Mitchell and advised him that he should not appeal, although they were out of time, but no court will bar the state from an appeal in a case that has such a magnitude of fiscal implications.
Very much so.
Right? And I said to him, honor the judgment. And do you know The gentleman honored the judgment. A lot of the workers don't know this, but I'm telling you this now. He honored that judgment. And he said, "But how are we going to?" I said, "Look, I have served workers all my life. If you speak to people the truth and you're sincere, some may not believe. Some may make mischief out of what you're saying, but the majority of people would follow you." That's my life experience. Mm-hmm. The majority of people have come to the rescue of Chester Humphrey. Remember when I was locked up in jail in the United States? Yeah. How many people signed petitions? Yeah. And this is why I always tell the Purcell family, Mr. L.A. Purcell was the first man who signed my petition. I always tell the Purcell family, I owe a debt of gratitude to that family. And I'm proud of them as a Grenadian business family. We have to ensure that this generation of Purcells succeed in their business because it's a black family.
Definitely.
It's a black family. And I could never forget Ellie Purcell. When I came out, one of the first persons I went to visit was Ellie Purcell. One of the first persons I went to visit to say thanks was Mr. Ellie Purcell. And then the man questioned, "Where you staying? I hope not by your grandmother." I said, "No, I live in an apartment." he said, "Okay." He said, "But you said Purcell, a smart guy." He said, "Everything's set up." I said, "It mean everything's set up." He said, "You have fridge, you have thing." I said, "Well, he said, "Well, anything you see there, take it and just tell the girl to mark down your name."
Instant sale.
Instant sale. Instant sale.
You go pay for $5 a month.
Yes. So I am saying we went different paths. Dr. Mitchell chose a different path, but the commonality is helping working people. No one goes to Mitchell and comes away empty. He may not come away with cash. He may not come away with exactly what he wants, but he may come away with an idea of what to do, or how to do it, or how I could help you.
Exactly.
You follow me? And that is the basis. That is the basis of a commitment to politics. That is the basis. Unfortunately, my friend, I have to say, that's not my experience in Mr. Burke. He's made up of his obsession is becoming Prime Minister of this country. It's an obsessive, and he will do anything and everything to be able to get it. So it's not about caring about people. It's not about service to the country. So they say that I'm a traitor. I am only continue the work that I've always done my life.
But how can you be a traitor to an organization that without any trial, well, they had their trial, which you were not part of, took you out of the organization, shoved you out of the organization. They said they no longer want to be associated with you, and they want to complain now when you have continued your struggle on a different road or with a different organization. How could a person who has found himself in such a situation be a traitor? You didn't stay in the organization and then decide, well, look, I'm going to work against the organization. They put you out of the organization. Illegally so too.
An interesting thing. Burke formed an alliance with William Joseph.
Yes,
oh boy.
Interesting, eh?
Oh boy.
Burke formed this alliance with William Joseph.
Chief of Staff.
And William Joseph and he mastermind my expulsion. And today I'm reading on the paper the most critical things written by William about and unlike me, William don't have no association with the New National Party as far as I know.
No,
he does not.
As far as I know.
He's openly been critical.
But you see, it reveals something. It reveals something. Right? Definitely. And that's important for us to know.
I think we have a caller online. Let's start to take some calls. Caller, just remember to make your comments, your questions brief. Good morning.
Good morning.
Hello? Good morning. Okay, we lost that one. Right. Yes, caller, just remember when you're calling, because we have a limited amount of time, make your statements, your questions very brief.
I want to ask, Mr. Humphrey, over the last 4.5 years, we have seen government and workers involved in some very tense negotiations and so. In your view, give us a perspective as to where the workers and their struggle in terms of like raise of pay and everything were, and where it is now, and how satisfied you are.
All right, let me say, first and foremost, the trade union movement in the public sector have not given themselves enough credit for what they have done. This NNP administration, and I'm not talking about past NNP's administration, I'm talking about this one, 2013 to now, they have paid out the single largest tranche of money ever to be paid to civil servants in the history of this country, over $110 million, in an economy that faced structural adjustment. And they did this without retrenching formally a single worker in the public service. Let us go Barbados and see what has happened there. Over 7,000 workers were sent home. The last increase that Barbados public officers get, I think is 2009 or 2010, have not gotten a single cent increase in pay. Of that over $10 million paid, I secured $40 million in it, or close to it. Because don't forget, in November of 2012, we were in negotiations with the government, the unions. We was the public workers, TAU Public Workers Union. No, teachers negotiated on their own.
Okay.
Teachers wasn't part of that deal, right? TAU, PWU, and I believe Cement. No, not commercial.
Okay.
Right? And we got, I think it was a 6% increase. We got two one-offs, a 2% increase and a 4% increase. Because during the period that the NDC was in office, during the period when Mr. Burke was Minister of Finance, the National Democratic Congress did not pay a single cent increase to public officers.
0%.
So they got 0% increase in pay. But those negotiations came to a conclusion in November 2012 for the money to be paid in March
of
2013. Yeah. Well, they lost the election, so they didn't have to pay the money. It was Dr. Mitchell who had to pay. Mm-hmm. And Dr. Mitchell called me and said to me, he said, Chess, I have a problem. We have to make one payment of back pay at the end of this month. But the financial situation is so bad that here is what I want to do. I want to bring back CCC. But CCC is saying that we have to service some of the debt we owe them. And I have just about $6 or $7 million, which is the money I had earmarked to pay the first tranche to public officers. I would like to use that money. I say, Prime Minister, no problem. I could sell that to my members and to the rest of people. Because the principle of the trade union movement is all for one, one for all. Now, if you have been employed, you have an income coming in, although you're due an increase, but a worker that has not been employed for 2 years, whose house is up for sale, couldn't you, and we agreed and adjusted the payment schedule, and that's how the CCC came back here. So that 200 and something TAU members got back employment. Right? So, the unions, as I say, not only that, it is the first time in the history of public service negotiations that we have a forward-looking contract. Do you know, at the end of this month, workers will get an increase in pay? And then, the beginning of 2009, they get another increase in pay? This has never happened before. We always negotiating back and having to pay back pay. So, for trade unions to be able to extract from the state, and I want to make a distinction between the state and Dr. Mitchell, because you see, we personalize these things. And quite often, workers who support the NDC feel that they're doing, they're hitting Dr. Mitchell a wound. But it's not Dr. Mitchell, it's the state that owes you this money. Just as how, when we signed the agreement with NDC and they went out of office, the new Prime Minister was compelled by that agreement we signed to pay. Because it's not he that has to pay, it's the state that has to pay. And I'm saying to you, the trade unions in the public service, in my mind, have not sold themselves properly. Because it has been a Herculean accomplishment and a massive accomplishment in the face of a structural adjustment program to have been able to extract from the state over $110 million. Not only that, the state now has made permanent 300 and something teachers. And again, I do not think that the teachers appreciate what Lyden Lewis is doing. Lyden Lewis has outmaneuvered some of the other unions.
Yes.
While them other unions going for a $10 increase, $50 more, and so on. He is going to make his members permanent.
Permanent.
That is a major piece of strategy. In other words, if I was still leading the movement, that's exactly what I would have done. Because what I give up in wages now, I could pick it up next negotiation. But if I'm never permanent,
you can't negotiate for
if
nothing.
I am never permanent. So Lyden, and again, I don't think Lyden has sold what he has achieved. And I don't think that the workers have a deep appreciation for what he has done. But there's a master stroke, and I'm speaking to you as a trade unionist, and me and Lyden, trade union to trade union, we are not best of comrades. Yeah, but I'm saying from a strategic point of view, based on my years of experience, because let me tell you something. There is not a man or woman, dead or alive, that has negotiated more collective agreements than me.
And not just locally.
And not just locally.
Regionally, at the regional level.
There is not a single Grenadian who was ever part of negotiating a $40 million US deal for the workers in Barclays Bank. 6 of us in the region that negotiated that $40 million US. All right, so I am speaking, I am assessing performance, and I'm saying to you, it's a strategic thing to do, right? So while you're chasing after a 2%, a 1%, a $50, $100, $15, the guy had been quietly saying, you see me? Let me get my members permanent. Once I get my members permanent, and they can secure their mortgages and so on, down the road, I could pick up, and that to me is that is a brilliant piece of trade union strategy.
But Senator, to bring that on the personal level.
So I'm coming back. Let me finish. How is all of this possible? It is possible simply because you have a government that has an inclination towards the working class. If you have a traditionally GNP government, you will never get that. And that is a difference. That is a difference which makes a difference. The difference is that you have and you see the thing about the Dr. Mitchell is he straddles all sides, all classes. Because in this period, what we need is national unity. That is what Project Grenada is all about. Project Grenada is all about unifying, not because we are the same color, unifying not because we are the same amount of money, but unifying around a program to develop our country for the benefit of all. That is what Project Grenada is all about. And I am happy to know that Project Grenada is alive and well. The social compact, which I attempted to negotiate with the NDC government, a government that I installed in office, negotiations broke down. Again, it had to do with Mr. Burke. Right? Within 10 months of coming into office, the new National Party was able to get a social protocol signed, in which even the churches are involved. When I heard Father Sean of the Catholic Church in discussing the whole question of the structural adjustment program said, I am bringing in an expert from Europe who will advise us on how to manage debt. I said the church is alive and well. The church is alive and well because the church realizes from its philosophy that the spirit can't exist without a body, in a sense. The spirit exists in a body. That's their philosophy. And therefore, if the body is unwell, it affects the spirit. Definitely. So the church itself has stepped forward and has played an active role. And you know what's most important? That committee is chaired not by a junior minister in the cabinet, you know. It is chaired by the prime minister. And my understanding is that they have met every month without fail, maybe bar one or so occasions. Right? So that is Project Grenada. And interestingly, you know Ray Roberts was in it?
I knew that was the statement about to come out.
Interestingly, the same Ray Roberts is on
Ray Roberts is in it.
Every month. Every month at the meeting.
The same Ray Roberts is on it.
And he can't speak ill about it because he was participating.
And he was part and parcel of it.
Yeah.
But the thing is this, you've mentioned the negotiations and the achievements of individuals like I always call him LL, LL and so. And how beneficial that has been to, for instance, I know of some teachers who entered the service several years ago, and September you just realize that you don't see them heading to the school because they're waiting on the ministry to do this document and send to them for them to get the contract for them to teach for the next year, who are now permanent. And some of them, as soon as they got the documents, in fact, one in the last 101 that were negotiated, one of them, as soon as he got the document, the first thing he do, he head to the bank. He go in and organize to fix up the house and everything. As soon as he got the documents that said that he's now permanently employed by the government of Grenada, that financial institution would accept him and give him a loan at a proper rate and everything, that he was able to go there and achieve that. And at the same token, I would have thought that for some of our nurses, even though that the process is ongoing and nurses are being taken in, that sort of negotiation would have been taking place instead of let's negotiate to see if we get a $12 extra here or $15 extra there. Well, that sort of negotiation would have been taking place.
Yeah, well, I mean, I think I've made the fullness of the points that I need to make on that. But just to repeat, that I think the trade unions should be justly proud. I don't know about others, but I have absolute confidence in the trade union movement. Mm-hmm. The Andre Lewises and so who have succeeded us, I think they have been well prepared, right? They have been well trained. They have the discipline, right, to take the organization to the next level. Mm-hmm. Right, and as I mean, people come to me all the time for
they've
advice.
Achieved quite a lot.
Yeah, man,
quite a lot between 2013 and now. The trade union movement in general in Grenada has achieved
$110 million in a small economy like this. This is a little more than 1/10 of $1 billion, you know.
Well, unlike when you look at Trinidad and you realize that they're sending home workers. And they're going through their issues. Barbados, they're sending home workers. Regionally, they're sending home workers.
Yeah, in an economy that still has certain fundamental structural issues to address. We still have certain fundamental structural issues. The restructuring has to now move to a different phase because the world economy has changed. So your structure of your economy can't keep the shape that it was for the 17th and 18th century. Right? So we now have to further restructuring. What we have done is to create fiscal balance. But the restructuring of the economy now and how we're going to position Grenada, how we are going to utilize the attributes of Grenada. One, to tackle the serious problem of youth unemployment. And I'm saying youth unemployment is being exacerbated by the rising tide of nationalism in the United States and in Europe, where people now are very suspicious of foreigners because of, the whole terrorist threat. And then the Trump thing of this mass deportation of people and so on. So the opportunities for employment in these foreign markets are being reduced. So there's greater pressure on us. And therefore, there has to be a more fundamental and more deep-rooted restructuring of this economy. All that the structural adjustment program has done is to handle the fiscal side. But the economic side is a task that we now have. And our greatest attribute is tourism. Make no doubt about that. Right? And if we are not careful, because I've already seen significant signs of destroying our potential. For example, the wanton urbanization of some of our sites. Take, for example, Annandale Falls. When people leave the metropole and they come here from a city, they want to see forests, they don't want to see houses. They want to see forests and overgrowth, and they want to look at ferns, and they want to see the biological name of plants. And therefore, our physical planning unit has to be fundamentally restructured to come up to date with the needs of the time. Right? Look at what's happening to our central market and the preservation of our architectural history. I must say, and I'll give NNP one under the belt, that in the rush to do things, they overlook the importance of preservation of architectural heritage, right? But it is something we must go back to because that's what makes us unique. That is what people come to see, a different experience, a different environment, right? So we have to preserve these things, and we have to preserve them, but upgrade them and market them. You follow me? And to exploit them. We have to develop more hotel plans. We have to diversify our hotel plans. Our hotel sites now, for example, there's no reason why the police headquarters should be on Fort Rupert. That should be removed eons ago. And the fort go well,
move the prison too.
Absolutely, absolutely, a perfect viewing site for viewing the southern part of the city. Huh? You know, a nice zip line going up on the top there with a beautiful restaurant and so on, taking tourists and things for views and so on. You know that would mean for Grenada and upgrading the boat. We need to remove the port from where it is. And we need to expand Fort Louis, coming all the way back down to the bottom of Cherry Hill. That is where our jobs will be created, high-end jobs.
But let me ask you a question.
That's another topic for another time and another place. So
one on it before we leave it totally. What I've noticed over the years, and it particularly affected one of the companies you spoke about before, Cable and Wireless, it will be affecting the banking sector even more and more. The computerization and technology creeping in and displacing workers. The United Kingdom, they have taken the approach of retraining.
Who could sit down counting money by licking their finger?
No, well, people ain't doing that again.
No, you put that in a machine and the machine can tell you how much money you have.
Because we know, we could basically say, I mean,
right?
1993, when I moved permanently back to Grenada, you would have had the guys working in Grentel who went about and collect the coins from the payphones, the guys who service the payphones. You might have still had a switchboard operator in different places, and so
I represent them,
right?
When there were more women employed with these wires pushing back and forth and call and tell you hold on, and then you had a ring. And these days there was no touch thing; it's a thing you ring in.
You stick your finger and turn. That's gone.
These are done.
We are seeing a situation now, especially within the banking sector, that many of the jobs are going to disappear in the next 5 to 10 years.
Now there are supermarkets in China. Where there are no there are no cashiers, and there's no money. You carry a card in your pocket, you go on the shelf and you take your goods and you put it in your cart, and you just go through the check line, and the goods is automatically, because these things are all wireless and signal, and your money is docked from your bank and sent to them people account.
But it says that these things are heading our direction. You go to a bank anytime from now, and you realize that if there are 5 tellers there, all of a sudden 3 of them leave, and 2, no matter the size of the line, because the bank themselves are trying to frustrate you to the point of doing electronic banking.
Well, exactly, because it's cost.
They're going to start cutting staff in that sense.
The bank has to drive down their costs. Right? So when you go to the bank and you only see 1 teller, the bank is sending you a message. If you want this service, go in the teller machine. And let me tell you, I myself had a hard time breaking away, you know. I still used to have to go and line up until now. I don't do that anymore. I pay all my bills and things online and so on and blah, 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 blah.
And that's what they want.
And that's
it's cheaper for them.
It's cheaper for them, etc., etc. And as things become more secure. But let's not go down there.
No,
what
I'm asking in that sense is because we've been hearing the constant thing of the new National Party government or the government of Grenada keeps speaking about ICT. And I'm thinking that but I'm thinking that why can't we be the ones to develop the technology?
You know what disturbs me? What disturbs me is the massive absorption of the youth in non-productive, negative exercises. That is what disturbs me. Do you know in Singapore, the school week is now 6.5 days? Do you know in Singapore, there's no thing called summer holiday? And while we focus on wine and jam and get on bad, the rest of the world is focusing on the advances in technology and the advances in mathematics. Right? So if we are going to survive in today's world, we better get onto it. And we better get onto it. So that focus is correct. The old days of the chalk and the blackboard and so on. Things are changing. People are now earning, more people now are earning the degrees online. There's a growing online degree program. Just now you wouldn't know where a university is, you know. You'll be going to the University of London. In fact, you could do it right now. Attending the University of London right here in Tantine Terrace on your computer.
And get a degree that is accepted by various companies and agencies throughout the world.
It's issued by the university. It's not a fake degree. It's issued by the university.
It's now 11:39. It's now 11:39. We're going to open the phone lines. 440-7377. Well, actually, some of the individuals online have been saying don't take any phone calls. They've been saying let chess talk. Let chess talk. So yes, about 440-7377 and
347-329-3101.
Yes, you can call now. Good morning to you, Dipo. Yeah, he's saying from the fire station to Otway House, changes are needed on the Carenage. That's our good friend Depradine out there in New York. Let me see what else is here. He's asking you to qualify architectural preservation and the necessity of licking down them old houses in my neck of the woods, the wharf. Some of these buildings are like movie set props. So he's saying that some of the buildings probably need to be removed. We have a call on.
Good morning and welcome. Good morning.
Hello, good morning.
Good morning, my dear.
Morning. How
are you?
Quite fine.
Very well, thank you.
Yes, go right ahead.
Yes. Mr. Chester Humphrey, good morning to you, sir.
Good morning.
Hello? Caller, pay attention to the phone line, ignore the radio in the background and proceed quickly, please.
Yeah. You hear me now?
We're hearing you from the start. Just go right ahead. Yes, go right ahead.
Yeah, morning, Mr. Humphrey.
Good morning.
Are you hearing me?
Yeah, we are hearing you.
Yeah, good morning to you, sir. Congratulations. You gave us a good wake up last week in Montaloo. Leave us with food for thought. I compliment you very much, sir.
Well, thank you, because this is what it's about. It's not
about
attacking.
You had me going, sir. You give us food for thought.
It's not about attacking any personality. I'm not engaged in the
politics. Yeah, you come straight to the point.
I am talking.
You give us history.
I'm giving you the facts.
Okay.
I'm telling you, as a leader, where your interest lies. I'm trying to clear up the wool that some people are trying to place over your eyes.
Educate.
And that's all I'm trying to do.
Educate. We have another caller.
I have no other mission.
Good morning and welcome.
This is a bit too loud for me.
Yeah. Sorry. Yeah. Go right ahead, caller.
Hi, good morning. How are you?
Good morning.
Quite fine.
Morning, Mr. Chester.
Yeah, good morning, sir.
Sir, how do you treat this that was put forward by the NDC to sabotage the sabotage election and the voting day? Is that a democratic statement?
Well, I dealt with that earlier in the program. Right. It seemed that you had missed it.
Probably got on late on that one, but that
for an organization that has the word democracy in its name, to consciously set out to frustrate the will of the people, because that is what these tactics are meant to do. Whether or not there is a case to be answered for criminal liability, I don't know, because what they seem to be doing is simply be using the loophole in the law, the process. In other words, what the court will call an abuse of process. Because if you are objecting, not because you have a basis for serious objection, but you're objecting in order to frustrate the process, then that's an abuse of process. And it is an abuse of process. And I call on the the Code of Conduct Committee to look at this matter. I call on former Prime Minister Tillman Thomas, who I hold in high regard, especially in matters of morals and ethics, to address this matter. And I'm saying it is, and what is interesting is that this is happening under, not Tillman, it is happening under Mr. Burke.
Okay, we have a caller.
Good morning and welcome.
Hello, good morning. How are you doing?
Not too bad, my friend.
Morning, Mr. Humphrey.
Good morning.
I want to say thanks to you for gracing us with your presence in the Northwest yesterday evening. It was an interesting piece of truth that you brought to us. But what I would like you to do for us, I would like you to share your thoughts on the Beyond the Headlines program, because it is widely, I think we need to hear you on Beyond the Headlines. You understand? Because a lot of people listen to that, and a lot of people look forward to those discussions on Mondays. If you could be accompanied by anybody else who would like to oppose you, or who would like to critique what you're saying, I would like to see you and somebody else on the headlines. Thank you very much for your service, sir.
Thank you, sir.
Have a good day.
Yes, indeed. 440-7377.
347-329-3101. Good morning and welcome. Good
morning
morning.
to the three brothers.
Morning.
I just wanted to commend Senator Humphrey on such a wonderful presentation, very insightful and very revealing. And I hope that the workers would pay heed to what he has said.
All right.
All right.
Thank you.
Thank you.
440-7377. I don't think I had to call the number again. You know,
right.
I think I just had to take
Good
the call.
morning and welcome. Good morning.
That call dropped off. 440-7377.
Good morning.
Hello.
Good morning.
Yes, sir. Good morning.
Yes, sir. I just want to say, we have a program, and as a youth, it is excellent. I'd like to ask Mr. Humphrey that maybe he can start a program whereby he speaks to the youth. You know, Mr. Ferguson had a program like law, teaching youth law, teaching everybody at the Grenadians law. And I would like to ask him to teach us politics, teach us trading. We listen to the youth, we really do. But it's difficult to speak one-on-one with a lot of the people who know best. So that's just my comment. And excellent program. Thanks much.
Well, so I'm still trying to sort out what I'm going to do.
Book on the way?
I'm supposed to be retired this year. Well,
No,
I'm
it
retired
for
from
you.
Tau, but you know, I still make my services available to them, and I'm still trying to sort out. Because for most of my life, I go to bed just after midnight and get up at 4.
Mm-hmm.
Right, and I'm trying to break out of that mode, and I've been able, unless I'm ill or something, that's what I do. So there may yet be some place for that in the things that I will do coming forward in the future.
Okay.
Yes, but I think it's important really to educate our youth, you know, to give them a sense of their history, and to give them some insight to how those of us who are now entering our kind of golden age, how we would like to see the society move forward. Because the new National Party is doing it, even the NDC is doing it. They've brought on younger people, and I think that's important, you know. So I hope I can play a role in that regard at some point, you know.
Hello. Good morning.
Good morning.
Yes, sir.
Good morning to Mr. Chester and to you, Mr. Devon, and Mr. Romain.
Yes, sir.
Mr. Scott. I want to congratulate Mr. Humphrey for a very good display of himself. I think it's food for thought, and I think that's the type of thing that we want. We don't want persons talking about person's personality and what. I think Mr. Chester did very well. He dealt with the issues and not a personality. He didn't really anybody who dancing, who don't dancing, who like, who don't like. He talked about the issues, and I think we need a program like that again, or somewhere else where other persons could really hear what went on. Hats off to you, Mr. Chester.
Thank you,
I said it before and I will say it again, that when you come to trade unionism, there is no other person in Grenada, apart the Caribbean, with your standard of qualification and attempt or ambition to trade union as you. That cannot be disputed. You have fought for all that. I don't want to support you, but you have fought in every respect for the masses, for the labor, working class people. There's a statement that is being made around where the NDC is calling on the NMP for time off, or to take up one of the programs to allow them to bring in their program on the television spot, and they are blaming the NMP for blocking or having both sessions both times on the television, and they cannot get time. I don't know if you are aware of it or if you heard it, but I think in politics it's not like that. The government, the party cannot give you time. You apply to the radio station or the television station, and you pay your money that is paid, and you get your time on the air. So I don't see why NMP has to be blamed if NMP have time that you didn't have.
If I may just, yes, I've heard that, but if I may just make a comment here. It amazes me how people try to escape the consequences of their own stupidity.
Exactly, very much so.
The reason why this has happened to them is because they went to the constitutional reform referendum and voted no for a fixed date. So having voted no, they ought to be prepared to live by the consequences. Yeah. Because Dr. Mitchell was prepared to give up some of his prime ministerial powers in that amendment. And he said, look, I am the one under the current constitution who knows the date. Not even the Governor General knows. Me alone know. I may share it with somebody, but I alone know. I'm prepared to give up that power and for us to have a fixed date. Had that amendment succeeded, NDC would have known long ahead of time what that date would be, and therefore could have made arrangements to the stations. Mm-hmm. But you can't hope to escape the consequences of your stupidity. I mean, if you're stupid enough to sit on a barrel of gasoline and then light a match, what do you expect to happen to you?
It'll blow up.
Well, exactly so. So you can't come now complaining because constitutional reform. But you see, the National Democratic Congress is driven. Its genetic code is constructed with a hatred for one man. So even if the man hands them something that is in their best interest, because of the overriding thing of hatred. And you see, that's the difference between when I opposed Dr. Mitchell and them. I never had hatred. In fact, I've said it openly. I owe a debt of gratitude to Dr. Mitchell because when I was arrested in the United States and when I was negotiating to get bail, I had to give a place of abode. And he assisted in getting a friend to take me. And I've said so openly, right? So although I may have opposed him, it's always on some principle, something. You follow me? It's never been on the person. So I have no difficulty if he says to me, and he's been honest about it, and I verily believe he is, that, Chess, look, we had our battles. I fought you, you fought me. But in the interest of Grenada, at my age now, Chess, I'm moving in. We have lived most of our lives. These battles don't make sense anymore. Let us work together. I am prepared to listen to the advice that you give me. And so far, my friend, this is what has happened. When I advise him on something industrially concerning the workers, I get movement on it. Yes? Whether it's to let's negotiate to restore the pensions, whether it's to do this, whether it's to reinstate the workers, whether it's to remove income tax. I've gotten everything in that meeting that happened in August 2012. The Prime Minister has fulfilled his part of the bargain. I see George Wam send me a thing asking me, I hear they see you sneaking in the Prime Minister's house 5 o'clock in the morning. Could you confirm that? So I said, well, partner, that's none of your business, but I can tell you, the Prime Minister called me 3 in the morning and said, Chess, I want to see you. I'll sure and go up and see him because I'm certain what he's going to see me about will be beneficial for the workers and for the country. Right? So I have no apologies to make. I have no confirmation to give. He's the Prime Minister and I'm a citizen. If he wants to see me, I'm happy. I have his phone number here. I could call him at any time. And likewise, I have the phone number of 9 prime ministers in the region on this phone. that I can call.
You'll let me the phone after. We have a caller online.
Good morning and welcome.
Hello, good morning, gentlemen.
Good morning.
And to my comrade Chester.
Yeah, good morning. I
Yes.
think I know that voice.
Oh boy, very informative discussions.
You sound like Morris Bishop, I can tell you.
Very informative discussion. And I just want to say, keep up the good work. I know you're there for the Grenadian people, Grenada, Carriacou, and Petit-Martinique, and you always there. Or continue to be there. And your ideas in going forward, respect it, and we'll look forward working together. And in closing, I just want to say hats off to our dear Prime Minister. He gave an excellent speech at the independence celebration for 44 years.
Yeah, it was a very moving speech.
Always call for the unity, the peace, working together, and it's our responsibility working together. And Prime Minister always call on peace, love, healing, and has done it. It's not talk, but action. And I want to say, action and progress continues. Brother Chef,
yeah, tell
see you later.
Tell that to Ray, because that used to be the slogan in party action.
That's why I say Independence Time, action and progress.
All right,
in going forward.
Yeah.
Have a nice day.
All right, take care.
Indeed. Yes, folks. And remember, the South St. George constituency, they've got that meeting at Musevi Shop. That's taking place from 6 p.m. tomorrow. Yeah, I'm sure you'll be passing by. Yeah, definitely.
I'll be there.
Yeah.
I'll be a speaker on the platform.
Yes, and Prime Minister Mitchell will be. I'm pretty sure Pedro will come and fire up the place.
Definitely.
Yeah, he was on fire in St. Paul's last night. Yeah, he passed. I think he was up in by Ronson Shop too. Yes, by Ronson Shop. Up in that's down in Woburn and so on. Pedro firing up the place, man. I love it.
How you guys?
I was in Woburn last night.
How you guys do that? Humphrey, I don't know. In terms of moving around like in one night and showing that the message is being.
Yeah, because I came from Lafayette. When I came down to that meeting, there's from Lafayette. I came from Delmar.
You know.
Yeah. Well, as I said, we are old strugglers, you know. We go back to the old days at NJM and so on. I mean,
you can remember during those days. Remember, you can make a phone call. You have to drive up and give a man a message. You know.
I remember the Ralphie days.
We've got a caller on the line.
Good morning and welcome.
Hey, good morning. Good morning, Sheldon. Good morning, Devon. Good morning, Chester.
Good morning.
My pleasure. In light of I watched the BNS last night, and I saw I think it's Prime Minister Mitchell, giving the death figure, and Mr. Buck, disagreeing with him and trading blows. But in light of the Caribbean Development Bank giving country, which is Grenada, high praises, you think Mr. Buck have any decency in trying to at least make an argument based on what he's trying to do?
Well, Mr. Buck is a lawyer, and that's what lawyers do. Lawyers' tools of trade is argument. They'll even argue against the impossible. So I don't think he's doing anything out of character. But again, it's whether or not he's making sense. As I said to you before, they're now complaining that the New National Party has bought the time on both radio stations. Right? And the reason why that was possible is because the Prime Minister knew the date that he was going to call the election. But he offered Mr. Burke the opportunity that Mr. Burke would also know the date by having a fixed date. But the brilliance of Mr. Burke led him to oppose that amendment.
Stupidity.
So there you have it. So, Mr. Burke is doing what Mr. Burke is supposed to do. I mean, if the Prime Minister says up, Burke will say down. If he says left, Burke will say right. I mean, that is...
Good morning and welcome.
We have a call on the overseas line.
Good morning.
Hello.
Hello.
Good morning.
Good morning. Lord.
Good morning, Brother Chester Humphrey.
Yeah, good morning.
Good morning, Sheldon. Good morning, Devon.
Good morning.
This, Sheldon, everybody called and they give Chester kudos already. But this morning, I say I might take the final call to give you and Devon kudos for bringing on Brother Chester on that program.
It was very enlightening. You see the man break the record and see how the like and the share gone away over 200. You see, you know, and these are the things. These are the things that the program. That's the basis of our program, and this is what NNP is about. NNP is so caring that they want to bring in people. Look, I just worked last night, and he's on the program this morning to enlighten us, to enlighten the Grenadian voters of this seriousness of this election coming up. You know, and I want to thank you and Brother Devon for bringing interest to enlighten us and our program like that. Hard talk, keep moving.
All right, my brother.
All right, my brother. One love.
Yes, indeed. That's a good friend out there in the U.S. Yes, folks, we just have a few minutes remaining. We're going to go a little past 12. We have a few minutes remaining, so you can call now. Time going around out just now. So if you had a call, you've got to call right about now. All right? We've seen we're in the middle of election cycle. We're heading to elections on the 13th of March, nomination day, the 20th of February. And in fact, let me hold that question and we'll take this call.
Good morning and welcome. Good morning.
Morning, caller.
Hello.
Morning.
Morning, Mr. Scott and Devon.
Good morning,
my love.
Good morning.
Good morning, Cammy.
How are you doing?
They are good. How are you?
Thank you very much.
You getting ready?
For enlightening us with what on.
You getting ready?
I feel happy to hear that.
All right.
Yes, and these are the kind of things we need to hear. Thanks for educating us.
Okay.
Thank you very much. I don't have much credit.
Okay,
and good to everybody who's listening.
All right, Cammy.
You must come and look for me, boy.
Yeah, I'm going to try. Yeah,
you must come and look for me. The bus coming out.
Yeah, I'll come.
And Mr. Watson, everybody in Brooklyn. Alright, everybody.
All right.
Every time I call, the phone ringing, and somebody else answering.
No.
Okay?
Well, I'm going to check your probably something with your phone. All right.
All right,
I'm going to get you.
Okay.
Bye.
I'll have to give Cammy a check on it. We've got a... Oh, boy, we missed that other call, yeah. Probably have to pass by and see Cammy on the terminal. Something very wrong with the phone because we usually answer and we're hearing you on this end, but for some reason you don't hear us. We have a caller.
Good morning and welcome. Hello.
Good morning.
Yes, good morning.
Sheldon.
Morning.
Good morning, Devon.
Good morning.
I want to thank you all very much for bringing Brother Chester Humphrey here because I was going to vote for NDC, but he lied me. So I thank him very, very, very much.
All right.
All right. Thank you.
Okay.
Thank you very much, caller. Yes, and that's one of our good 440. Oops. Let me see. Yeah. And I forget the question I was going to ask now, you know. It slipped me. Absolutely, totally. It slipped me. Yes, indeed. Yes, folks. 440-7377.
Good morning and welcome. Hello.
Yes, good morning.
Hi, morning.
Yes, good morning.
Listen, I listened to Brother Chester. Good morning to you, Brother Chester, you and Brother Romain.
Yes, good morning.
But I listened to Brother Chester this morning. And one of the things that have impressed me the most is that he said he's not doing this to shout out that he's NNP, but just to say that, you know, this is the government that can really take the country forward at this time. And I want to applaud this, but most importantly of all, I wish that this recording can be played for every Grenadian to hear. There has been some great information that has come forward, and some people, they would need that kind of information to make a choice on March 13th. So I don't know, Brother Sheldon, how you're going to do it, but I want to encourage that if there are excerpts that can be shared with the other constituencies, the other members of government when they're having their public meetings, the media, wherever we have opportunity to air certain programs, I want to strongly advocate that we take these facts and we share them with our Grenadian people, because this is the kind of information that we need in order to make that choice. Those who are still on the borderline, they need that kind of information. And even those who are considering voting for the NDC, maybe they don't have that kind of information. So I just want to encourage that. And Brother Chester, congratulations to you for the guts that you have and for enlightening us, because I myself, my jaw dropped. So I can imagine for other people. So I just want to thank you again, and you guys continue giving us all this kind of education and information, and have yourselves a wonderful weekend.
All right,
Same
thank
to
you.
Thank you.
All right, yes, we're going to go up until 12:15, Senator. I don't know if you'll be okay with that.
No, I'm here. I'm at your
right.
pleasure.
Right,
If you want to
great.
keep me until midnight.
No, we might.
All you got to provide me with a cup of coffee. That's all.
I know it have
You
meetings
want a
later.
cup of coffee.
I know you're going to have meetings later.
Yeah,
and people are looking forward.
I am by Sister Yulan being asked for this evening.
Okay, we have a call online.
Good morning and welcome.
Yes, morning.
Morning.
Morning, Sheldon. Morning to Manchester.
Good morning, Comrade.
Very, very informative program. Very, very informative. Great stuff. Well, one of the things one question I want to ask, I remember, and Brother Chester Humphrey alluded to it when he spoke about when the NNP won election in 2013 and the unity and the unification of the country that Dr. Mitchell called for. During that period, up until Dr. Mitchell always talk about uniting our people. But there it is, that we have something that it seems as though that is still embedded in the NDC and in the leadership, that they're calling for unity. And to go to turn the independent in this celebration into a political situation that they still want to be addressing the crowd and along with Dr. Mitchell. Now I want to hear Brother Chester Humphrey's views on that. Thank you very much.
All right, thank you.
Well, when I heard the request, I asked myself, what is the basis of this request? Is the basis of the request is the fact that the National Democratic Congress is a political organization? Well then, if that is the basis, we have a whole set of people addressing the independence. We will have the people from GOD, that's Mr. McBurney and others, because he's leading a political organization.
Mr. Fletcher.
Mr. Fletcher and the others. I don't even know the names of
the Waterfall, Mr. Fletcher.
Of those other people. Because to the best of my knowledge, the National Democratic Congress has no sitting in the House of Representatives. And they have a sitting in the House of Senate by virtue of a decision made by the former Governor General, who was entitled to make that decision. And that is how they are there. I don't understand. Okay, well, maybe I should make a case to address the thing because I was the president of the Senate. Yeah. So I don't know what's the basis of this. There's no leader of the opposition. There is a prime minister. So,
power.
I think it was an attempt to gain a stage. And as I suspected, the matter would have been dealt with thoroughly. And so has happened. I just wanted to spend a brief moment on Dr. Mitchell's address. It was a very in-depth address. And if you listen to it, it connected because independence is part of the march of our people for social justice and liberty, Remember we started with our indigenous forefathers whose lands were conquered and who were annihilated by the French, genocided by the French and the British. And then their lands were taken over. And then we were brought away from Africa and brought here as slaves. Then we fought against slavery until it was abolished in 1833, 34. And then after that, there was a struggle against colonialism led by Galway Donovan and people like T.A. Marichaud. And then the struggle against the plantocracy led by Gary in the 1951 revolution, which was carried by the agro-proletariat and so on. And then in that period of a sort of neo-colonialism arose the New Jewel movement to put back the march of history on course, right? And then we had the period of the revolution, the restoration of constitutional democracy, as we are now, and then the continuation of that struggle, right? So that in the presentation of the address on independence, in a very succinct way, not a long-winded thesis on the history, he was able to capture that because independence represents a spirit. This is what independence represents. It's spirit of a people yearning for national liberation. This is what it is. We're still dependent because the world, they have restructured the world and still kept themselves in power. The old colonial powers are still the masters of the world today, right? Because they dominate in fields of science and technology and so on. They control the economy of the world and so on, right? But some states and some peoples have been able to break away. The Chinese have been able to break away from that domination and establish their own space. India has been able to break away and establish their own space. Even to some extent, Pakistan, right? The people who have the major racial grouping in the world that has not been able to do this is Africa. Africans, the race of Negroid people. And the reason why we have not been able to do this is because of the division. And each man wants to be a king in his own small palace, right? And we were hoping that South Africa would have led the way. But unfortunately, the person who succeeded Nelson Mandela, I am at a loss how we got to Nelson Mandela to a fellow called Zuma. I don't quite understand it. But anyway, this is all part of the challenge which faces us as a racial grouping in the world today. Our challenge to set up as a people, a state that can exercise universal power in the same way as the Mongoloid people, the Chinese have done, in the same way as the Indian people have done, in the same way the Anglo-Saxons have done, because they dominate. You follow the point I'm making? We still have a place, and therefore, as I said to you before, it pains me sometimes when I see our mass culture is so regressive, and we celebrate the regression with all this whining and nakedness and spending all the time, and rather than focusing and disciplining ourselves in the science and so on, and you know, being amenable to discipline, because only a disciplined people makes progress, you know. But that's another conversation we should have another time.
Closest chance we probably had in the region, Haiti.
Well, many years ago. Destroyed Haiti.
Many
isolated and completely destroyed Haiti. They circled Haiti and stifled it and made sure that Haiti, and then they use the instruments of religion against Haiti. I mean, it's a whole complicated, as I said, that's a whole nother
discussion.
The
thing with Haiti is that I do note that many people spoke out about the comment made by President Trump about Haiti. I even saw a certain organization calling on government to make a statement in relation to it.
But it's much more complex. It's much more complex. Let me
but
tell
these
you
are the same people that refer to Haiti by some of the most degrading names that you could hear.
But we ourselves refer to Haiti that way.
And they complain that Trump is making some statements, but we Grenadians make some of the most statements.
When Haiti was hit by the earthquake a few years ago, I was so saddened by the comments that I heard. But it tells me the extent to which we have been brainwashed against ourselves. You know, people were saying that God that smite Haiti because Haiti practices voodoo. I mean, so what happened when what happened when the earthquake hit Chile? What happened when the earthquake hit Japan?
Or Taiwan this week?
Or Taiwan. So I'm saying we ourselves, because of our conditioning, and that's part of the serious problem we have. And Bob Marley was prophetic when he spoke about it. Mental slavery. But again, this is another discussion. Another time. Right?
Folks, that's about all the time we have for today. But what we would definitely tell you.
Callers more time.
Yeah.
Really.
And what we're going to definitely say is this. We will bring Senator Humphrey back before the 13th of March. And I would like you to make that promise with us here today.
No, call me.
I'll
be back. Call me.
Yeah.
Anytime. The GBN people can get me. They know how to get me. And I'm available to be on the program. They invited me to this program that they had on March 13th. And I elected not to participate because I thought it was a banal discussion. Why elections are held on March 13th? Oh, well, I know. There's a decision for Dr. Mitchell.
Exactly.
So as I said to them, when you want to come and discuss March 13th in its historical context, the lessons of March 13th,
yes,
or March 13th as a part of Grenada's history, I'll come. But I'm not coming to have a discussion on March, having general elections on March 13th and why. That's a banal discussion that really contributes nothing. And really just give those people who have the appetite for TB an opportunity. I certainly would not subject myself. No, I could handle myself.
Yeah.
But I would not.
I
would not reduce March 13th to a TB discussion. If we want to come and talk about the lessons of March 13th, why it happened, what mistakes were made, the consequential effects of it, right? And it's around March 13th you want to have that discussion, I'm available to come and talk, because I'm saying to you, I didn't read March 13 in a book.
You live it.
Right? I not only live March 13, I created March 13. So, I mean, if you want to hear it from the horse's mouth, come to the horse.
So we will have that discussion too.
Right?
We will have that discussion
at some point.
too.
I guess we will have
at some point. Folks, that's all.
So let me just thank you guys. I think you all are doing a marvelous job. Keep it up. It will appear to be partisan. But so be it. But I hope that my presentation is not partisan. I've explained my purpose and my reason. I've explained where I am at this juncture in my life, what it is I'm doing and what I'm about, all right, and how I'm going to execute. Because as I tell people, I don't follow people. I always make that statement. I am a leader. Your part and my part may coalesce. We may walk the same journey. Not because I'm following you, but because I'm convinced that this is the journey that we have to walk. And I am convinced that we have that the new National Party, under the leadership of Dr. Mitchell, is the best vehicle available to Grenada and Grenadians, right, for developing this country at this time. Did he make mistakes? Many. We could document it. He's the first to admit that he has made mistakes. But then, as the Christians say, he who is without sin cast the first pebble.
Senator Humphrey, once again, thank you so very much. Folks, this program will be rebroadcast at 8 p.m. tonight via CRFM 89.5. Also at 10 p.m. tonight in Brooklyn via 94.9. It will be available online a few minutes after we finish. We'll be having the national report coming up to you in a short while.
It's at 10?
And at 10 p.m. on 94.9, that's in Brooklyn, but at 89.5 CRFM here in Grenada. So you would be picking up 89.5 at 8.
8 o'clock.
Yeah. In fact, I think we might even try to do a 4 o'clock rebroadcast this afternoon. Yeah, we'll do. Mr. Technical Man, a 4 o'clock rebroadcast? 89.5?
89.5.
92.1, a 4 o'clock rebroadcast, right? Nice.
Is this heard in Carriacou as well?
Yes, so Carriacou, even though they're in the midst of their revelry on their Carnival Friday, yeah, they are listening out there in Carriacou. So I'd like to thank each and every one of you, and again, especially thank. Wow, yeah, that's the boat heading up to Carriacou today. Wow, yes. That's
I'm gonna stand up and drink some beers and watch some. But we have work to do.
Oh yeah.
Yes, indeed.
Lots of work to do.
We have work to do.
So I'd like to thank all of the stations, thank all of you listeners. That's it from us here at Hard Talk. Look for the rebroadcast via 89.5 at 4 p.m. and again at 8 p.m. All right, and then in Brooklyn, those of you in via Noise Radio, We Vibes Radio, from 10 p.m. That's 94.9 FM, and at 3 a.m. again via CRFM 89.5. My name is Sheldon Scott.
I'm Devon Romain.
And of course, we again thank Senator Humphrey for being in with us. And yeah, we hope we won't go out on that tune. Also at
Stay up to date with all that's happening with the new National Party, NNP. Send us a message via text or WhatsApp on 405-8683 with your name, email, and constituency. Stay in the know with NNP. Get updated.
What's up, Grenada? This is Romain Virgo. I'll be at the Tempe playing field this Sunday for the National Youth Rally. I can't wait to see you. All right, be there.
Prime Minister urges do not risk successful experiment that is changing Grenada for the better. Details to this story and more in the National Report. With the National Report, I am Leslie Ann Johnson. A call has been made to the nation not to risk the successful experiment that continues to change Grenada for the better on speculations, promises, innuendos, and character assassination. It comes from Prime Minister Dr. the Right Honourable Keith Mitchell. He was addressing Grenada's 44th Independence Anniversary celebrations at the National Stadium on Wednesday. Dr. Mitchell says the country needs to celebrate the gains made thus far and work towards consolidating them.
This nation has come together in the last few years to rise out of economic stagnation. The social compact among the government, the churches, trade unions, business community, and the non-governmental organizations and civil society has been a model tool demonstrating what can be achieved when we join hands together across this nation. Today, on this 44th anniversary, we celebrate unity, and we call on all to join that unity train.
Addressing thousands at the National Stadium, Dr. Mitchell added that our nation and people are reaping the rewards of sacrifices made over the years, and he again credited the social compact for the success of the Structural Adjustment Program and ensuing successes. He used the opportunity to make a call for all to commit to be part of the Social Compact, irrespective of who wins the next general elections.
Those of us who have answered the call in the last 5 years were not afraid to make the tough decisions, because we knew that in spite of the challenges, Grenada, Carriacou, and Petite Martinique must always come first.
The new manager of the Cricket West Indies has promised to give his all towards making the Caribbean proud of the regional side once again. Roald Lewis gave the assurance during the cultural aspect of Grenada's Independence Anniversary celebrations at the National Stadium on Wednesday. Lewis has been with CWI for a number of years in the operations department and managed the team during the successful World T20 run in 2016.
As a member of the management team of the West Indies Cricket Board, I will go there and represent Grenada. I will fly the flag, and I'm going to go there and make you guys proud. Hopefully we can make you climb to the ceiling, play music and dance, similar to the T20 World Cup in India last time.
Lewis, who now lives in Antigua, called on Grenadians to support our very own Devon Smith, who has been setting records in regional cricket. In the 2017-2018 four-day West Indies Professional League, Devon Smith scored 1,095 runs in 18 innings with 6 centuries and a half-century at an average of 84.23. He was by far the best batsman in the competition.
I am actually here to present an artist, and I want to thank everyone for the support that they've given me. Over the years, I'm going to go out there and represent you guys well, hopefully. Thank you. I am pleased to be here tonight. I've been invited to come to Grenada. I now live in Antigua to come and support independence. Happy independence to everyone. Before I introduce the next performer, I must say that we had a record set this year in regional cricket. Being a former cricketer, I must mention Mr. Devon Smith from Hermitage. All Grenada should be behind Devon and supporting him. Guys, can you please just acknowledge his performance? Garfield Sobers, no, Viv Richards did not do what Devon Smith did in scoring a record most number of runs in regional cricket.
This is the National Report. More news after the break.
Data reveals that rats and other rodents are responsible for the transmission of many diseases. In Grenada, the most common is leptospirosis, and it can cause your death. This disease is directly related to rats and mice infestation. Signs and symptoms of lepto, as it is commonly referred to, are high fever, headache, chills, muscle aches, vomiting, jaundice, and abdominal pain. If your home had or is infected with rats and you have any of these symptoms, please check with your doctor immediately. Declare war on rats. Starve them. Kill them. Rats are the most unwelcomed guests. Reduce, control, eliminate them. This is a message from the Ridge to Reef Project, protecting biodiversity and ecosystem functions.
The ground floor of the Grenada National Stadium was transformed into a patriotic village on Wednesday as the National Celebrations Committee held its Made in Grenada Expo as part of the island's 44th Independence Anniversary celebrations. Rikisha St. Louis attended and filed this report.
There was a noticeable increase in the number of entrepreneurs participating in the expo this year, numbering more than 50 individuals and school organizations. The event provides an avenue for locally made products to be displayed in an effort to attract more markets. Bags, jams, jellies, beverages, jewelry, cassava products and confectionaries were all on display. Former Culture Minister Brenda Hood is pleased that more entrepreneurs showed interest in the expo this year than previous years.
I'm elated, I'm so impressed, and it's growing from strength to strength to see all of the people here who have produced so much and wonderful work. The packaging, the quality, it's amazing. What it tells me is that this has to be done more often. And as you can tell, we started a few years ago. This year is much better than it has been in the past, and it's going to grow. I just want to congratulate everyone involved, making this a reality.
A few of the exhibitors expressed delight in the opportunities presented to them during the expo.
Most of our coconuts are bought, but others we get from like farmers who want to contribute to our company. The process for the cheap is not really long because all the work is done manually by our members. The oil is done by us also.
All right, tell us about sales so far. I know that some of your representatives will go on various, districts or whatever to sell products. Tell us about the profit part of it.
Well, we haven't got a lot of profits yet because we just started and we have a lot of expenses. So we're not really seeing a lot of profits right now.
How do you feel about being here today and being able to display one and with the possibility of selling and getting more markets?
Well, it's a very good opportunity because we want to showcase our products to the whole island, the entire island.
I make various things, including the yellowfin tuna, which is caught on his boat, and so I cook it the day it's caught, and that is why this product is absolutely fantastic.
Right, your products are in the supermarkets?
They are in some supermarkets, in Foodland and in Real Value in Grandad's. And all these products, all of them, including the jams, go to the Bureau of Standards, and these are tested by the Bureau of Standards.
This is the 5th year the committee has organized the Made in Grenada Expo. For the National Report, I am Rikisha St. Louis.
And that's the National Report. I am Leslie Ann Johnson.
That's recover arms. That's shoulder arms. And that's the order arms. So they're just showing you different positions with the weapon, and now they're doing a wonderful display.
Wow.
At the shoulder. And over the years, we have seen more and more innovation from young McLean.
He's quite a vocalist as well.
He's also a musician.
Yeah.
Very, very talented young man.
Indeed.
I think there's a really, really bright future ahead of him.
I will have to agree.
It's not really complicated. Elections are about choice. Between 2008 and 2013, $70 million was spent on scholarships for youth. Between 2014 and 2017, $185 million was spent on scholarships for youth. Vote NNP. Vote competence.
It's not really complicated. Elections are about choice. Between 2008 and 2013, 1,265 youth engaged with the GIAP. Between 2014 and 2017, 3,725 youth engaged with the Amani program, with a spend of over $190 million. So let's keep moving. Vote NNP. Vote.
It's not really complicated. The elections are about choices. Between 2008 to 2013, the economy regressed every year. Between 2014 to 2017, the economy grew every year. Vote competence. Vote NNP.
St. Andrews Southeast, I am Emmeline Pierre. I want to say a special thank you for your love and for your support over the past 5 years. Indeed, I am humbled by the opportunity that you gave me to serve you over those years, and I'm ready to serve you again. We have started a good thing together, and we have a lot more to achieve together. Together we would bring more benefits to our young people, more housing assistance to those who need it, more jobs to those who are unemployed, more support to our elderly, and of course more development to our constituency. So I'm counting on your support. Let us get ready to vote. Let us get ready to put Grenada first. Together we would continue what we have started together. Let's keep moving.
Kendra Matthew and Stewart, and I am honored to have answered the call for service. The people of Carriacou and Petite Martinique are dear to my heart. I have grown up in a time of expanded opportunities, showcased by the fact that I have had the fortune to study and become a professional. There are many young people who seek the opportunity that I have had, and I want to be a part of that movement that helps open up new doors. It is the aspiration of ordinary people that inspire this new journey of mine. As my generation rises up to service, you can surely count me in. I am Kendra Matthew, and I am running for you, the people of Carriacou and Petite Martinique. Keep moving!
The people of St. George Southeast, like the rest of the nation, have bounced back these past 5 years. We still remember the barren years of 2008 to 2013, when so many of our people lost their jobs, their homes, and their hopes. Together, we have dug ourselves from that deep hole, and we have lifted many people up. But it is a long, hard grind, and the job is not yet finished. So a vote for me in St. George Southeast is a charge from you to work harder, to consolidate the gains, and to be even more determined to fight, especially for those who are yet to be lifted by this rising tide. I am pleased to offer myself to return as your MP in St. George Southeast. Together, we shall keep moving.
What's up, Grenada? This is Romain Virgo. I'll be at the Tempe playing field this Sunday for the National Youth Rally. I can't wait to see you. All right, be there.
Whatever I have done in office, I hope that I can help inspire the next generation of achievers. Having come from a humble family in Brazil, the son of a farmer and market vendor, this country has given me many awesome opportunities in life, a pathway created through education. That's why I want to speak to the next generation all over St. George's Northwest, and indeed the country as a whole. Life is not about where you started, but where you want to go. I'm determined Through this office I hold, to fight to create even more opportunities for you. But you also must have to want to grab them with both hands. These 2018 general elections are therefore about consolidating the gains and backing the fresh opportunities we shall create for the next generation. We shall not look back, nor stand still. Together we shall march forward. Together we shall keep moving.
I remember those days, not so long ago, that all I wanted was an opportunity. My family was poor, and there were times I didn't even have a pencil to go to school. The people of Paraclete, Moncton, and surrounding areas gave me that opportunity. These ordinary people raised me. It is this history that inspires my politics. Now, it's my turn to give the next generation even greater opportunities than I had. If I can make just one weak person strong, I will be doing God's will. What we did in the 5 years is just a little bit of what we can do in the future. My duty is to steer the course and to keep moving.
My involvement in politics was always motivated by a desire to see significant change. I am here to serve, and it does not matter in what capacity. And as I move through the constituency, I feel a sense of pride and satisfaction when people tell me, yes, I like what you are doing, I like the services you are providing for us, I like the fact that you are with us and you continue to support us. So therefore, being able to serve, being at the service of our people, I think is my greatest satisfaction. Because if I cannot serve the people, I have no place in politics. When I look at some of the conditions under which some people have to live, I feel a sense of compulsion to do more. That gives me the urge, hey, you have to do more.
Let us have a real talk, St. John's. Let us understand the choice that faces us in this coming election. You can vote for me again, a proud member of a team that has consciously started rebuilding Grenada. Together, we have done the hard work and the opportunities have begun to come. So, you can go for the other guy who threatens to rip it all up and start a new experiment that none of us is sure about. The choices we face are not even close. We have made our sacrifice, and now we must continue to build on our success. I'm proud to be on your team, and so St. John's, we are moving together.
It's not really complicated. Elections are about choice. Between 2008 and 2013, 1,265 youth engaged with the GIAP. Between 2014 and 2017, 3,725 youth engaged with the Amani program, with a spend of over $190 million. So let's keep moving. Vote NNP. Vote competence.
South St. George is fast becoming the economic heartbeat of this nation. It is at the center of the housing and construction boom and unprecedented growth in education and tourism sectors. As our area rises, so does the nation. In the coming period, our challenge is to give character to this growth and to bring along the surrounding areas. So we shall improve the skill sets of people to take advantage of the coming jobs with my plan to cut unemployment in the South by 2/3. And we will extend housing assistance and give the many people who need it land tenure. More money will be made available for small business loans for people in such areas as Montoute, Grand Anse Valley, Woodlands, Woburn, Calais and Belmont. The people who are yet to be touched will get their chance. We are excited about tomorrow, and so today we shall keep moving.
And I have offered myself to be the next parliamentary representative for my people of St. Patrick's East. I see this as the next step in my life journey of service to people and my determination to give back to my community, a community that has always lifted me up. I am particularly passionate about issues affecting youth, and as your MP, will be championing policies and programs that will further empower our young people, as well as our adult male and females all across Grenada, but particularly in St. Patrick's East. I am pleased to have joined a team that has delivered for Grenada. But there is more work to be done, and so we shall keep moving.
It is an opportunity where I can be able to make a difference in the lives of many persons in the constituency and also Grenada as a whole. I am prepared to give of service to the people. My whole life has been one of service. So this is another opportunity where I can go out there to help improve the lives of people, the standard of living and the quality of life.
Skita is a young person and she has been given a wonderful opportunity to help shape lives in our country. She has been doing that within her school for the past 17 years.
I know her doing teaching and making great improvement in that school. Awards, trophies, you know, skits was behind this.
What's up, Grenada? This is Romain Virgo. I'll be at the Tempe playing field this Sunday for the National Youth Rally. I can't wait to see you. Alright, be there.
It's not really complicated. Elections are about choice. Between 2008 and 2013, $70 million was spent on scholarships for youth. Between 2014 and 2017, $185 million was spent on scholarships for youth. Vote NNP. Vote competence.
I am Yolande Bain Horsford, and right behind me here is my alma mater, St. Joseph Convent, the institution that I've attended for 5 years. Further back behind me is the Roman Catholic Church that I also attend. And on my left is the convent court that I played all the netball and the tennis throughout my 5 years at this institution. I am very proud of the partnerships I have formed with the people of St. Andrews Southwest these past 5 years. But I'm even more excited about the things we can still do together. We have begun solving the housing challenges and tackling youth unemployment. We have not only been building roads and houses, but more importantly, building communities and building lives. Many people have been given fresh opportunities, and even more shall be lifted up in the coming period. I am ready to take a fresh start and to continue battling for ordinary people who deserve another chance. So let's keep moving.
I have been afforded the greatest honor to have been able to serve the people of St. Mark faithfully this past years. Every day I get up with the same enthusiasm to go to work for you. Today, I still have that passion, and tomorrow I look forward to fighting for you again. We are happy to have made a difference in the lives of so many people. But we appreciate that it is a never-ending struggle. Whatever progress we have made, we shall never be satisfied. And that's why I am coming back to you for your support again. We have done a lot, but we still have more to do. Therefore, in St. Mark, we shall continue to keep moving.
Five years ago, we started an incredible journey together. We dreamed and we strove to achieve. We are happy with the success we have had, but not content. The arch of progress is bending in the right direction in St. George Northeast, and many people have benefited. But there are still others that are yet to be lifted by the rising tide. We cannot leave those people behind, and so we continue to fight, and we continue to push on. I am Tobias Clement, and I'm running again to continue what we have started. Our dreams are too big, our ambitions too large for us to stop here. So let's keep moving.
The new National Party has been good to St. David's, and more is coming. Youth unemployment has reduced drastically. Infrastructure has improved. The standard of living of people have improved over the years. Our focus is to ensure that all our people in St. David's improve in their way of life and standard of living, and we are giving hope to young people. It is a united team that can deliver such hope to people and such benefits. And therefore, this is not the time to take risk with the future. We must be committed to the present. And I say to you, let us all keep moving.
Every election campaign is full of old talk and grand promises. Let history be your guide. Is who likely to better perform in government. Election is not about choosing perfect. They are about choosing the best one offer. Vote competent. Vote the NNP.
Building a stronger economy means all Grenadian workers benefit, those who work in the public service and those who work elsewhere. Now that the period of shared sacrifices is over, the benefits must be shared among every Grenadian. More money for house repair, more money to improve healthcare, more money for training, more money for education, and yes, more money for public servants. $55 million in various payments. We are the Grenadian family looking out for each other. And even as we fight for ourselves and our families, we always remember our neighbors. We forge ahead together.
It's not really complicated. Elections are about choices. Between 2008 to 2013, the economy regressed every year. Between 2014 to 2017, the economy grew every year. Vote competence. Vote NNP.
It's not really complicated. Elections are about choice. Between 2008 and 2013, 1,265 youth engaged with the GIA. Between 2014 and 2017, 3,725 youth engaged with the Amani program, with a spend of over $190 million. So let's keep moving. Vote NNP. Vote